Hello, and welcome to Jason Cavness Experience. I'm your host, Jason Cavness. A few things I'm working on right now is I'm getting ready to speak at Military Curtis Conference in Arlington, Texas, April 16th to April 18th. Also, I'm the U.S. Market Manager, Development Manager for Tech Bank out of Vietnam. We're sourcing software development deals for them. And we're also, I'm also helping source startups for Earth VC. We're looking for deep tech startups that make the world better. Our guest today is Logan Evans. Thank you for being here today.
Yes, absolutely happy to be here, Jason. Thank you very, very much.
So, you're running, what are you running for again?
So I am running in District 47 for State House, State Legislature, and I'm running for position 1.
So let's talk about this, right? So like, I looked it up, and in order to run for office in Washington, basically, you have to be 18 years old and live in the district you're running for, right? Mm-hmm. And some people say they have the question like, how you qualify? They say education, experience, whatever. And in my mind, only qualification you really need is like, can you get more votes than the other person, right? I mean, it gets down to it, right?
Yeah, I mean, that is the heart of it, right?
But having said that, what makes you believe you're qualified, or what makes you believe that you'll be a good representative for your district?
Thank you, Jason. I really like this question. I think what makes me qualified to be the representative for my district is that I care. I am a teacher. I have taught at West Auburn High School in the Auburn School District for 5 years. And I not only have taught here, but I've lived in the state for the entirety of my life and in King County for the entirety of my life. I've seen what has happened. I am attuned to the experiences my students have, the fear they live with, the problems they have faced. I've seen businesses collapse. I've seen things get worse and worse and decay over 30 years. And I know what good things there used to be and what could be. I think that's really what makes me appropriate for this position. I see what's happening. I know what's happening, and I want to fix it.
So how long have you been a teacher?
Oh, yeah. So again, 5 years in the Auburn School District, and then before that, I was substituting in the Kent School District. Oh, this is good bourbon. Normally, I have trouble drinking anything whiskey-based.
Cool. So, and how long have you been a teacher again?
Yeah, so again, I've taught for 5 years. Okay. 5 years in West Auburn High School. It's a really wonderful alternative public school. So kids who struggle in other places can come to our school. We have smaller class sizes. It's
and you really mean, do you mean like, do you know, delinquents or people having trouble, like people dropping out and like just challenged at home, or what does alternative really mean?
Yeah, so in this case, it's everything you've mentioned, but also it's kids who just kind of have anxiety disorders. Basically, they have personalities that for one reason or another, even completely kids who have never had any connection to law, who have whole families, they just struggle in a normal classroom. And our school is meant to be kind of a method of recapture to help them get through high school. And that's kind of where I really see myself in politics, as our school is taking people where they are, like our students, like people who struggle to speak, and getting them to where they need to be. And I kind of think that's what our government's supposed to do, right? It's supposed to take people where they are and help them get where they want to be. Do you want to make a business? Do you want to live? Do you want to buy a home? Do you want to get better? Do you want to just go hike somewhere and find love and have a nice weekend? It's the government's job to help create that environment.
So I'm sure you'll laugh at this. So when I first got to the state of Washington, people told me about this Running Start program, right? And it's like all these people like hyped up about, I'm Running Start. I was like, why are you so happy about that? This is like a program for people who ain't getting along in high school, right? It's like a last chance program for high school people, right, to get their GED. Like, no, Jason, it's like college and high school. Oh, shit, like, y'all need to do a better job, like, publicizing this, or like, cause me, a lot of people are like, oh, from the military, Running Start, that's like a last chance program for the bad high school kids. I never know. It's like really a damn good program for kids that y'all have here.
Absolutely. Well, and the nice thing is, as a teacher, I've heard like every praise and concern about it. And there's a lot of things going into Running Start. And I think it's great that we have a means for students to like achieve a higher education. But part of the problem we've seen is that there's been so many questions about quality at the high school level that a lot of kids have been trying to escape that, in a sense, by doing Running Start. And then we've had kids pushed into it who really weren't ready for it. So there's like this great kind of balance of like, you want to have these programs that give people opportunity, and you also want to have just a baseline quality high school that a person is happy to be in for 4 years.
Yeah, I think the challenge is high school. at least as I remember, school's based on the middle group, right? Like people doing better than I for, and then people like I had a lady on the podcast maybe a month or 2 months ago. Her name's Eleanor Knight. Um, I think a year ago she got a bronze medal at the World Kayaking Championship. She just graduated University of Washington. Just got accepted to the University of Washington Law School, and she turned 19 the week after my podcast, right?
Wow.
And I have to imagine she did Running Start, right? But I think she had to go to regular high school without Running Start. I mean, she'd be like just in the middle of the class, you know, and like know like things for her, right? And I don't know how as the education system we improve that, or if there's a way to improve it, you know.
Well, I mean, this is part of the big question. I think one thing I really admire is how other countries I've seen, and also what America used to do, is we used to have a lot more money invested for these kind of different programs and techniques, right? There were things called track schooling, where kids who really aren't scholastically oriented still had an option for a school that prepared them for life, prepared them for work. And this is something that I really would like to focus on, is like, again, giving kids that opportunity, right? Are you 16? Are you 17, 18, 19? You want to actually be ready for something. You want to move on to it. We can create a program for that. We can, I think it's something we haven't really tapped into. We do it in bits, if that makes sense, bits and pieces.
Yeah. I think the challenge that is, though, you have people like, you know, Kobe Bryant, who's one of your best players at the age of 6, right? There are certain people like that younger lady who just won the Olympic gold medal for ice skating, Lisa Liu. She knew since she was 7 years old, right? Most people like do great things know from earlier than we do, but majority of us in the 30s or 40s still don't know what the fuck you want to do, right? So how do you balance that in school, right? I mean, do you have like a different track for people who like know what they want to do? I don't know how, and I don't think we have the resources for that.
I mean, well, currently you don't, and that, honestly, this is something I've thought about, and my big thing is, as a representative, is I want to be a guy who is happy to try things and experiment. I want to look at what we've done before in America, what Germany, Japan do. And again, I'm not saying there is one direct answer. Track schooling, there are consequences, right? To having like a university track, a trade track, a middling track. These are things that we'd have to investigate. But part of the problem is, you're right, we don't have any funding because right now Washington is in the throes of a gigantic crime spree connected directly to the drug crisis of fentanyl, right? I mean, any of these programs we want to do come from taxes placed on homeowners and businesses. And, you know, I mean, people are fleeing the state. I mean, businesses are, I don't know if you've seen it around here, but like I know Seattle, like how can we talk about having a better school or a more refined school or a safer school when like kids are worried that they're going to get robbed, that they can't use a bus because it's full of dangerous people, you know, and their parents are talking about moving to Idaho, or actually, oddly enough, Texas. I know like 3 families who have moved to Texas now. So again, I'm so happy you moved up here, Jason. But
yeah, I really had no choice. So I'll tell the story about that real fast. So me and my wife both from Texas, and the plan was always, we were both from the same hometown, Odessa, Texas. The plan was always, when I retired, to go back to Texas, right? So year before retirement, I asked my wife, hey, like, where are we going to live at? Like, my hometown, your people, my people, where? She looked me dead in my face and said, oh, Jace, I didn't tell you. I like it here when I go nowhere. So, yeah. No, it's not bad here. What I'm trying to do is nice, you know. But it's like, I don't know, sometimes. I'll never be home. Yeah. So here's a question for you that no one's been able to answer. So if you look at the news, American public schools, kindergarten or high school, are known, or like the stereotype of it's not getting any good, blah, blah, blah. The grades are low. We're behind everyone else. But if that's the case, why do all the other countries want to come here to go to college? Like, what's the big disconnect between like kindergarten to the college level?
I mean, I think the... Oh, sorry. Like, what is the difference there? I mean,
yeah. Why do everyone say our high schools suck, but every country wants to come and send their kids here to go to college?
Yeah, I mean, well, part of the reason is that we do have incredible funding for our universities. Our universities also are a key way of entering jobs in the local area. But the big thing is they still have a lot of, I would say the universities and colleges here still have a lot of security. They have that focus on creation, creativeness, and it's a good environment. People know that. Complaints about K through 12 have gotten worse, and I think a lot of this is again connected to the laws that have been passed here at the state legislature. We've had a worsening safety environment. Schools are dangerous, and schools reflect the cities. It's harder to have a safe classroom. It's harder to have a classroom where people are comfortable learning. And then what happens is, because there's been this general attitude of I would say, again, it connects to the drug crisis, right? Instead of going, we have a person who needs help, let us actually focus on teaching them hard skills, making sure they're in a good environment, making sure they're being good with their other students. We instead adopted this attitude of let them do what they like. It's rude to actually try to teach them. It's rude to have hard, firm skills. And it created this kind of chaotic environment. And I had heard people who were very concerned about their child's education saying they were afraid that they were not being able to receive it in a public school environment. And I think that's the attitude, because a lot of them have experiences in their home countries where even if their schools were poorer, even if they had less resources, the environment was more secure. Like, I mean, you might have heard some of the stories here, but like, I mean, tales of kids having drugs, shootings happening on campuses are extremely frequent. Last year, in the Kent School District, a student went out on his lunch break, and because of some connection to gang activity, he got shot in the back of the head during his lunch, a complete gangland execution, right? I mean, how can you feel safe with your kids in a school like this when you know that there is going to be, there's a potential for murder? And it's stuff that's so simple to solve. That's my thing. Like, there are easy things we can do to make our schools good and safe. There are easy things we can do to make our cities safe. I think that's like, to me, that's the big thing, right? If you don't have a safe school, you can't have a good learning environment.
So I have a solution to that, and I know no one's going to agree with this, right? So first of all, I consider myself a capitalist. I don't believe in socialism. But this, to me, is pretty like a socialist answer, right? So example, like most schools are paid by property taxes. I'll use Dallas, Texas. So in Dallas, Texas, there's a neighborhood called Highland Park. Richest of the richest, right? So obviously, all $1 million homes, parents making six figures. So obviously, property taxes are higher, right? And plus, two-parent homes, they have better job, better able to support the kids. South Dallas is like mostly welfare, low income, property taxes are low, right? So who's going to have the better advantage, Highland Park or South Oak Cliff, right? Easily Highland Park. No one agree with this, but I think we need to get rid of property tax for doing like schools, and do like some kind of sales tax. Like everyone pays a additional 2% sales tax every product, or maybe I don't want to say income tax, but something, right? I just think it's inherently unfair to have property tax of the district pay for the schools.
I have heard I mean, no, I think it's an incredibly interesting idea. I know that's what countries like, again, Japan and Germany do. That's how they achieve a kind of balanced funding in their schools. And I think that's really good to look into. I especially think it is unfair that we have a system that, I mean, the origins of the property tax in America connect to the fact that the people who could vote in America, right, were the people who paid property on the $1 million estates, whatever. These days, it's kind of a tool to crush a person who owns a home. Even this recent the millionaire's tax that was just passed. I mean, the big thing is I would really like to look into that. I think it's all interesting. But even if, here's the joke for me, even if we reformed funding in schools, it doesn't change the fact that the schools are still dangerous and the city is dangerous. And it's not that the schools want that. It's not that the city wants that. It's just that we have a state that is in the middle of a fentanyl crisis. Like, I mean, we have the best funded schools in the nation. And in fact, in a way we do. Like my public school, interestingly enough, my alternative school has a huge amount of state and federal funding going into it. I've talked to my students about this before, where I said, you guys are incredibly valuable, dollar per dollar in taxes that are paid for your education. But it doesn't feel like that because we look at where we live, right? I mean, how can you say that, like, oh, wow, you know, we have a school district that's being, you know, $100 million budget plus, and you have to step over a guy who is sleeping on the ground, and there's another guy folded over in half next to you. You know, like it doesn't feel like there's money in the district.
Yeah, I know recently, a few years ago, there was a big thing. I guess like some kind of a baseball park in Ballard where the kids would play Pee Wee baseball, and they couldn't play baseball because the homeless said, like, basically sleep in the dugouts, right? And no one wanted to, like, tell the homeless people to leave. Like, they're like, oh, they have rights too. Like, what about your fucking kids, right? Where are they going to play at, right?
What about everyone? And thank you. Okay, this is something that, like, I make a joke. I said that the people who talk about the right of a person to die in a public park, the right for them to use it as a drug den, to seizure in front of your children, to smash into a business and scream and yell at everyone, I said, it's amazing how libertarian they are. Because when you ask them about any other thing, they are happy to have the government there. No, we need government here. You need to have rules on this. You can't be allowed to do that. But they have the right to sleep in the baseball dugout.
Yeah.
It's just this is why I call myself a common sense candidate. Because it's how is this good?
Yeah. So we're in Pioneer Square. People don't know Seattle. Pioneer Square is like a rich neighborhood in Seattle. I actually like here. There's a lot of like nice bars, restaurants, whatever.
Yeah.
But there is, for lack of a better term, riffraff, right? I'm gonna go to some examples, right, and see what you do, right? Mm-hmm. And so he hasn't been here for a while, but I've been here like 3 years, right? When I first got here, there was an elderly black gentleman who would like basically be from the post office all the time, right? Mm-hmm. So I talked to some people in the building and said, yeah, that's Eddie, right? He's been like 12, 13 years, right? 12, 13 years? Are you kidding me, right? He just been in front of the post office? Yeah, been there 12, 13 years. So what's going on with, we think he has dementia. They try to help him, no one helps him, right? Or he doesn't refuse it. And then it's interesting. They said one time, some lady came and said, hey, it was his daughter or granddaughter, right? You got to come with me. He refused to go. So she got the police involved, like welfare people involved. They said, sir, please go with your daughter. I said, with his daughter, right? They said it was back in 6 months. And my question for you is like, if someone's daughter or granddaughter comes to get him, to put him, we're pursuing a nice home, better than sitting in the street, he comes back, what really can you do, right? Like, do you make him go to a home? What can you really do?
This is the foundation of my campaign. Okay, it's like point number 2, but point number 1 is quality of life, and we can get into that later. Point number 2 is the way to solve this, and I do have a silver bullet.
There's a water if you need some water.
Oh, you know what? I appreciate that. I'll use this thing that I poured. Maybe actually your water ball is a better idea. This is noisy. So my solution: I want a 3 strikes, 6 months of involuntary rehab in a state rehab facility for anyone with 3 or more ODs or 3 crimes committed under the influence of drugs. And the reason for this is that one, I don't want these people who are clearly crippled by a drug addiction. They are non-functional. Whether they were mentally unstable beforehand and they were trying to treat that with drugs, or the drugs made them insane. Again, fentanyl is evil. It's drug 2.0. It is a lethal drug. It is a deadly, awful thing. I mean, heroin is the only thing that comes close to it. And heroin still wasn't this bad. I mean, sorry. So the goal here, I don't want these people being put in a jail, right? It just takes up, 1, it takes up space. 2, jail isn't going to help them. Well, sometimes interesting point, jails help people when they get them away from drugs. And that's why I want to do state rehab, 6 months. 6 months is enough time for a fentanyl addict to be away from the drugs, to get off it, to get clean, to be away from their dealers who will no longer have them. And that's part of the thing, right? These people aren't stable. They're not sane. They're not making their own choices. It's like when they're like, oh, I can't believe my drug addicted nephew robbed me. It's like, it's not your nephew robbing you. It's fentanyl. Mm-hmm. It's meth. Meth is robbing you. He doesn't control his actions. And when people act like, oh, wow, he just decided to stand out here for 13 years. No, the man is not right in the head. He needs to be put in a place temporarily to be treated. And then we can actually have meaningful, effective services, which is another huge point for me.
And so when you say drug related, is it you talking about all drugs like fentanyl, heroin, marijuana, LSD, or just certain types?
I mean, well, okay, this gets interesting. I am focused mainly on fentanyl and heroin, but obviously under the wording of that law, this is something I'd like to put into. I talked with a mental health care worker who told me that all drugs have these potentials. For example, cannabis psychosis.
Yeah.
That is a real thing. A person who calms themselves purely with marijuana might snap. But I think marijuana is fine.
Yeah, I mean, like compare marijuana, alcohol. No one started firing marijuana. At least I know, right?
And same with, and I'd say the same again for I'd even extend it to alcohol. I'd extend it to cocaine.
Yeah.
Again, no.
So your main focus fentanyl, meth, and fentanyl and heroin.
Fentanyl, meth, heroin.
What's crazy to me is how some of these people, they're fucking mixing fentanyl with fucking horse tranquilizer. Mm-hmm. I fucking, it's a name for it. I forgot the name of the mixture. It's like you're not high enough? Like, damn.
Well, again, this is the whole thing. This is why I'm so upset with people who try to take an ironically libertarian position. Their rights, their choices, they are not making choices. If, again, people can be slipped fentanyl. Mm-hmm. It's happened to women.
It's such a small amount, right? Such a small amount.
Like it, and they
like people cutting cocaine with it, heroin with it. It's in this,
Yes, it is a trap. It is a disease. And we have to treat that. We have to help them. I mean, this is and also I'll add too. You said it. We also have to think of the rights of everyone else. Mm-hmm. The rights of a kid to run through the woods near his house. The right for a couple to go on a walk after midnight. You know, the right for a bar or a restaurant to be open past 11 p.m. so they can serve people and have customers.
So a good example, a good friend of mine, she lives right around the corner, right? Not even a 2-minute walk, right? Mm-hmm. She's paying like $2,500 for one bedroom, her and her boyfriend, right? Mm-hmm. Every day she walks out, it's nothing but drug addicts, homeless people, right? And it's like, you're paying $2,500 for this, right? Yeah. It's insanity.
We pay New York City, Manhattan prices to live here. In Kent, Kent doesn't have anything.
Yeah.
Doesn't have anything like Seattle has, and we are paying obscene rent.
Let's trade churches there, right? You have a good point, right? Like these cities like Kent, Covington, right, and they're paying high rent too, right? Mm-hmm. Like y'all have no downtown, no clubs, no. I can think on your website, like we pay New York City prices, but no New York City,
yes,
stuff,
No New York life.
And like I go to Kent once in a while. I catch a sounder from Lakewood here, so I know that where the Lakewood, the Kent Station is called Kent something. It's like not a lot of nice restaurants.
Yeah, they call it Kent Station.
Yeah, Kent Station. Okay, damn, duh.
Yeah,
I really like that place, right? But I've been to a couple of bars with friends of mine. But man, you drive around like, man, it's like, what is this? Like you like potholes and like, yeah.
That's it. And there is this really quaint strip in the Kent historic downtown, and one, no one knows it, and then two, you look at Kent, who is going to care? You said it.
So quick question. So your district, what cities does it actually represent? Right? What's what's in there?
Thank you. Yeah. So District 47, I would be representing Kent, basically the entirety of Auburn, and then the core areas of Covington. Okay. And then a lot of the unincorporated areas of Auburn and Kent as well.
So that area, what is it known for? It's like known for manufacturing, small city business. Like what is it? Mm-hmm. What's the core demographic there?
We are an agricultural and manufacturing powerhouse.
Okay.
That is its main thing. I mean, we've got an Amazon we've got a Blue Origin site factory there. I mean, we have our own shoe factory.
So a lot of manufacturing.
Tons of manufacturing.
That's what people don't realize about the state of Washington. State of Washington. Everyone thinks tech, right? But like. People don't realize or they forget that we have like Trident Seafoods in Bella, $1 billion company, all the agriculture in the West. Yeah. I think we sell more apples and wheat than any place else. And many people don't know the impact in manufacturing in Kent and those places, right? Can you talk about that?
Yeah, I mean, this is so.
And I apologize, my brain just like bam, bam, bam.
No. I work the same way. Actually, so again, this is like part of my quality. This is the quality of life part. So once I've solved the drug crisis, once I'm able to put these people in state rehabilitation centers to help them out, what I want to do is focus on the cities. And part of the issue there is we have incredible manufactories. We have agricultural spaces that are beautiful that I'd like to preserve and keep going. The problem is in Kent is there's this huge disconnect, and I've heard a lot of stakeholders in Kent speak about this. Basically, like most people who, unless you're working for the factory, you don't know it exists. There is a manufactory district. It's basically separate from the city, way away. It's like in the Torrey downtown area. It's almost like you're going to Renton or you're going to another city. And part of what I want to do there is make these connections. I want to bring the manufactories to there. I also want to have a tax policy. I want to have an economic environment where companies feel safe opening here, where their workers feel good living here, right? And that's part of the thing you were saying. Where like you've been to Kent, and like, what do you got? You got Kent Station. You have some nice diners in the historic downtown, and it's like we need a city. And what I want to do is I want to bring that culture there. I want to build 20-story, I call it 20 stories within 5 blocks. So think like the light rail station, both the one they did at Kent Des Moines recently, and then like Kent Station as an example. Basically any of the major transit areas in Auburn, Covington. I want 20-story mixed-use buildings. Think like, first floor restaurants and shops. So you have your cafe, you have your bar, you have a nightclub, you have a gym, And then 2 stories of like subsidized affordable housing, like for elderly, people with injuries, veterans, etc. Right? And then the others can just be flats, actual flats people buy. And then we can have a city that's actually like fun. And then the factories here can have their workers live in the city. Because no one can buy a home right now and rent. Like, again, my rent is $2,500 too. It's $2,500.
That's crazy. So how about this? Like, I think every town wants to modernize, but I think every town is a challenge. Like, there's a sector of people in the town like, the town's okay. It's been like this since the 1950s. You don't change. Like, so how do you? And those people usually don't like vote, right? Mm-hmm. So how you convince these people, like for a better term, stuck in the old days, to like get more modernized and see how this benefits them?
I've had super good fortune here, and I will credit this to two things. The first is I am a charming person, and people sense that like I want what is good for everyone. But the second one is that things are absolutely awful. There are grandparents and parents. These are the homeowners. People who have been here for ages, and they know their kids and grandparents cannot afford a home here. They cannot, flat out, unless the grandparent dies and leaves them the home, or they spend their, they basically take out their retirement or use a large amount of money to help them buy a place. It is impossible, except for the tiniest population here, to have their kids live in the city with them, unless they are renting. And that is why we have young people leaving the city. So my message and what I tell them is that by doing these changes to the downtown, to the transit centers, one, I am preserving their homes. I am preserving their quaint, quiet suburban neighborhood. Because I'm building housing, no one's going to dump a Section 8 apartment complex in the middle of their neighborhood, which state law now mandates, right? And people don't have a good urban plan. So I'm keeping their neighborhood safe, and by building up the city, I'm creating a home where their kids and their grandkids can buy property to live near them. I mean, that's what I want to do. I want to build these because I will buy that flat so I can move out of my apartment.
So real fast, shout out to Taylor Ray. Taylor Ray introduced the two of us recently. So shout out to Taylor for making this happen.
I feel just terrible right now that I didn't already do that. Thank you so much, Jason. And yes, shout out to Taylor. Thank you so much.
Taylor's another like amazing, interesting people, right? So she has a business called Ray Enterprises, geofencing. And like she started while in college, right? And who does that, right? It's like, yeah, she's an incredible person, yeah.
Completely agree. No, very inspiring, just super cool, and I wish her only the world of best.
So talk about this, right? So obviously it seems like Seattle's a big dog, right? So how do you plan on working like city of Seattle government, King County government, your district? Is all these moving pieces, right? Because obviously you just can't go do stuff on your own.
Yeah.
And then you got to fucking like work with the other people in the representative of Congress, whatever. Like how do you plan on collaborating and doing that kind of stuff? Because some of these people, some of your plans like totally against what they want to do, right? So how do you like do that?
Yeah. So part of what I've noticed, and this is the first part of my campaign, I'm doing what I call listening tours. So I'm literally just setting up meetings with people and I'm listening. So I try to learn from them what's going on. And what I've heard, and actually from some officials, from some elected officials, is that they would like to do more. The problem is they feel like they are, well, ironically, oppressed, right? They feel like they don't have someone who can support them enough. They feel they're either a minority or they're actually larger. They're a plurality. But they feel like they can't speak up against some of these people. They have too many things weighing on them. They can't compete. They don't have an organized voice. So part of my plan there with my election, if I win, I will be sending a message to every elected official in the state that Washington is changing, that 70% of Seattle voters who were polled supporting my 3 strikes, 6 months, not my even, just the proposal of the King County Quality of Life Coalition, the 3 strikes, 6 months involuntary rehab, who want to fix those issues, that they want to change from their officials, that Republicans and Democrats throughout the state want a government that actually cares for them and is responsive. And if I win, it's going to send a message to these other elected officials that they're going to have to start listening to their people, or they might lose their election to someone also like me in their districts.
So this is going to be probably a messy question, right? Before you do listen tour, we like to think like everyone's registered to vote, but most people are not registered to vote. So how do you know? This is gonna sound fucked up, but how do you know like you're talking to a group of people that you're not wasting your time, right? Like how do you know I'm talking to 100 people, but only 25 are registered to vote, right? Or is that some point of getting the message out to everyone, regardless of if they can vote or not?
So well, it's like a dual track system, right? So one, I do listen to everyone, and I think their opinions matter. I represent everyone, and actually, I will say this: I personally feel my main thing is representing the people who do not vote, whether because they are too busy with their lives, they're too disinterested, too disheartened, too demoralized, that I am making a better world that they will live in. And that just, those people inspire me, or warm me. Again, there is a girl I knew in high school, beautiful, nice, wonderful woman. And I couldn't tell you if she votes or not, but I saw her 15 years later, and I saw what fentanyl and other drugs had done. And listening to her, I just realized I had to do something. Now, sorry, so again, everyone's opinion matters to me, everyone. But regarding effectiveness in voting, what I've been doing is really making sure I reach out to all the stakeholders. I want the unions to know. I'm a proud member of the teachers union. I want the unions to know that I am caring for them, and I'm going to create a state for their members. I want all the stakeholders, the people who do vote regularly, to know that I care about them, and the homeowners, that I am here for them. So that's really how I kind of go about it.
And you're a history teacher, correct?
Yeah.
Do you think if you were just like I don't know, like a math or science teacher, you still be wanting to run? Because a history teacher, I have to think like you know more than history and know about voting and stuff. Like, do you think like a non-history teacher, you still want to get involved?
Yeah, I mean, so this is I have nothing but respect for the STEM fields, and I think it's kind of a misconception about like STEM people in general, and that a lot of our best scientists were avid historians, right? They were people highly involved in the culture side of things and poetry. My father is an engineer at Microsoft, component engineer. One of the most, I mean, probably the most brilliant guy I know. Incredibly interested in culture and politics and mysticism. But I think I will agree that I think my background in history drives me to politics. It gives me kind of that background in seeing what has happened, and it keeps my mind constantly on the subject. That I've seen things that have failed, I've seen things that have worked. I'm aware of what's happening around the world and in other cultures, and I want to apply that to here.
Let me ask you this, right? So I think myself, a lot of people have negative connotations about teacher union, right? Mm-hmm. A lot of people want to think teacher unions, they defend the people who are like not doing their job. You know, you always hear like the teacher union so-and-so town going on strike because whatever, but they're getting paid six figures. And this is all like slight exaggeration, of course.
Sure.
They're going on strike because they're not getting six figures, but their scores, the kids keep on dropping, right? It's like a lot of times teachers unions, unions in general, like teacher union, police unions, it's like they defend the lowest of the lowest in their field, and people don't like that, right? Can you like talk about that and convince me to change my mind?
Yeah, no. I'm not going to convince anyone to change their mind. I just want to talk through things. So I think it's the glory and beauty of every union when they work, right, is that they do represent all their employees. And I mean, I treat it ironically like our laws, right? Everyone is entitled to a fair trial. Everyone, a fair trial. I think we must have the unions. You need to have them because we have shown we don't live in a society that responds fairly. I will say, I mean, and this is something that's been dealt with, I mean, that we've seen, is that when we have, it's just one of those, how do I explain this? Everyone must have a right. They must defend their job as a job. I think, though, this is where the negotiation comes in. And this is the thing. The fact that we do have a mandatory public school system, right? Now, that's something that people can question. There are arguments about that, what is good, what is bad there, mandatory attendance, etc. But the big thing is that when teachers strike, when police workers strike, how do I explain this? Basically, there's a right to do so. Mm-hmm. Do parents need to like that? No. And I think this is where their parents in the district can have disputes over it. I think if you have people striking constantly they're just not leaving their job, or they're not doing their job, what you'll see is that people will leave that area. They'll collapse, they'll lose their taxpayer base, they'll lose all support. So there's kind of a balance of extremes that'll happen naturally. I think the big thing that I would like to do is just kind of create that environment where politically it's not desperate. I think the worst tensions and the worst strikes we see are when, like, the environment is so tight, people are poor, they don't want to pay money. I mean, taxes are too high. They're losing their home. They don't have time to not have their kids be in school. And then the teachers strike because the teachers are trying to pay, because the teachers are people who are trying to feed their families and get their homes, right? There's this kind of tension. And I feel if I can just make the situation better, we won't have those problems.
So do you believe every industry should be unionized?
No.
Like for me, I'll probably get bashed for this, but recently, like, Starbucks has been trying to unionize, right? I'm like, I've never been a barista before, but come on now.
I will.
But for me, like, who needs to be unionized is those migrant workers in the farms picking strawberries and shit. That's who needs to be unionized, not coffee workers.
Well, I talked with my father about this ages ago, and when I said no there, ironically, I'll tell you what. I think if barista workers can unionize, if they can pull it off and they'll have a union, fantastic. Good for them. There are economics that go above it. When I was saying not everyone, the joke is there are some industries where you're so specialized, you're so powerful, you're so valuable, you don't need a union.
Yeah.
No, I have a wonderfully brilliant, amazing brother-in-law. I love him so much, and he is, along with my father, one of the smartest people I know. He will never need a union for his work. But I think for people at lower levels, they need that kind of bargaining. Now, the joke about Starbucks is this. When the workers unionize, well, actually, whether or not they unionize, Starbucks has already moved a second headquarters to, is it South Carolina? Nashville, Tennessee.
Yeah, we need to talk about that. Yeah, because, like, they're talking about they're moving half the headquarters. They're like, oh, we're moving there because we want to focus on coffee for southeast United States. Is that coincidence?
Yeah,
like, nobody's that fucking stupid, right? And then they said, oh, we're fully committed to Seattle, but yet at the same time we're talking about millionaire tax, right?
Honestly, this is where I hate, from the depth. I know it's funny. I'm a political candidate. I actually hate political speaking. I hate putting up a fun front. I think it's dishonest.
Starbucks. Oh, we've been planning this for years.
No, well, here's the thing. Starbucks is right.
Yeah.
Starbucks got betrayed and stabbed in the back.
Yep.
And I think when someone stabs you in the back, I think you meet them on that level. Starbucks should have said, you guys passed every law you could to drive us out of your state.
Yep.
And we spit in the face of that. We spit in your coffee. Don't actually, though.
I know I saw a stat recently. I can't remember. It was like businesses that left the states or like people that left the states, but like one or the other. For California, like 25% of the business of people left the state instead of Washington 50%. It's going to increase the millionaire tax.
No, okay. Thank you for the millionaire's tax too. So I will say for the record, here is my joke. I very much identify with having a fair, populist, balanced economy. I do not want a single corporation determining state policy. I don't want to be ruled by a tiny class of billionaires who get a party on Epstein's island making all decisions for us because each of them are worth a country, right? Having said that, what happens is people take this righteous demand for change and then they use it, these same billionaires, these same or state legislators, these people, take this energy and then use it to destroy the middle class. And again, I've used this phrase before. It's a wonderful phrase. I love it. They're squeezing blood from stone. They are turning Seattle and all of Western Washington into old Detroit. They are going to drive out every business, every corporation, every taxpayer with the money to leave will leave. And then the only people here will be the ones stuck here, the ones who couldn't quite afford moving away, and they will raise the taxes on them until they are poor and welfare dependent or have finally given up the ghost.
And this, I think, is like hilarious, right? All these politicians, oh, this millionaires, it's not going to pass down. Everyone common sense knows it's going to be passed down in a few years. Like people don't know this. I'm sure you do, being a history person. Like the income tax, United States income tax was, I might have this wrong, was done by Woodrow Wilson to help pay for World War I. It's just temporary, right? Mm-hmm. Any politician that gives an extra tax or toll, whatever, it's always permanent. I don't care what the fuck they say. Like the bridge to Tacoma, the bridge to Tacoma, I can't remember the name of it. Mm-hmm. Supposed to be, we're going to charge a toll until this paid off. Decades later, they're still charging like $10-15, right?
Oh, I know. Well, and again, it's also when they pass. I thought it was. I'll just even jump here to the lottery tax, right? The lottery.
Forgot about that.
The lottery tax used to have something that I accepted, and the idea was it is a vice, but the state will regulate the vice because we'll use the money for education.
Yeah.
And I thought, you know what? That's probably the fairest way you could do it. Vices are bad. You shouldn't encourage them. The government shouldn't profit off it. But if people are going to do something bad, we can at least use the money to educate kids, right? And then they took that tax and they rolled it into the general fund.
And so this is my thing too, right? And most of people might disagree, but I generally believe that most people would be willing to pay the taxes, Republican, Democrat, whatever the case may be, if the government could say, hey, you pay these taxes, here's the result, right? Like people talk about all the time, the higher amount of taxes in Sweden, Finland, that kind of stuff, but they pay taxes, but they can see what they have, right? It's like, like fucking in their face, like great highways, great infrastructure. Yeah. Here we're paying taxes like the same fucking pothole.
Yeah, it's
or worse, down in Tacoma, the same construction all the time, right?
Yep.
The one person took a picture, 2 pictures, and he said, guess when these were taken? Like 8 years apart. Yep. Same exact location.
Yep. No, I mean, this is I would love, I absolutely will push to have it that like maybe on every ballot people can see exactly where their taxes are going, what taxes are up. I mean, I think this is incredible. And this is the thing for me. I love, the joke is this, people say, are you small government, big government? I am for any necessary level of government to make sure things run well. Mm-hmm. But that means, one, they are responsible to the people. The people know what the money is going. I want statistics. This is partly why I pushed that 6 months involuntary rehab. I want to track if things are effective. I want numbers being looked at so we can show people where the money is going, that it's not just been lost, to a charity. I know a lot of charities in the last 10 years have been coming under financial audit, including especially ones related to the George Floyd protests. Mm-hmm. 22 million, just millions of dollars being wasted. Not even wasted. It's a corruption. It's graft, right? So, I mean, this is the thing. I want to have taxes in the state done in a way where ones that are actually unnecessary, that are driving businesses out, that are hurting people, making them flee, are removed. I want to restore the economy. I want businesses to want to stay here. I want Starbucks to want to stay here. I want Starbucks to make enough money being here that when the workers unionize, Starbucks doesn't go, we'll move to Tennessee. Mm. But, if you look at the fentanyl crisis, look at how many people are moving away, how expensive things are. For them, they look and go, this is the last straw, right?
So let's change to something more positive, right? So one thing about the Seattle area, right, you do have Amazon, you do have Microsoft, you do have Boeing, you do have Expedia, you do have Trident Seafoods. I could go on these like multi-million billion dollar companies, right?
Yeah.
So despite all the stuff going on here, the taxes, drugs, whatever, what do you think it is about this era, like all this innovation? There's so many tech startups, so many gaming startups. We had a Comic-Con earlier. Mm-hmm. Like Seattle does have some positive stuff going on. What do you think is about the water or the sky that makes all this stuff happen here?
Oh, okay. Great question. And this is thank you for that too, because I do love my state. I mean, Seattle is the Emerald City. I want it to shine like a gem. I think honestly, here's the joke. I think it is the clouds and the rain and the trees. I think even though a lot of people say they don't like the clouds, I think it has this kind of fun, calming effect. And then when the sun comes out, it's beautiful. When you have sun every day, right? It's just a thing that's there. But I think it's just this kind of chill, wonderful forest environment. We're literally close to the mountains, right? We're close to the water. We're close to the sea. We're right next to these kind of almost foreboding, forbidden forests. And I think it just creates this kind of happy, excited, natural feeling. It inspires people.
So why should someone start a business in your district? Mm-hmm. Why should someone move to your district and start a new business in your district?
Watching someone do that?
No, why should someone start a new
Why
business?
sorry, they said watching someone. I'm like,
Yeah.
what is it?
Why should someone start a new business in your district? Or maybe rephrase that. When elected, what are you going to do to incentivize people to bring small business or any kind of business?
We
regardless?
are going to be going through massive, beautiful development. We are going to have shining downtowns that, I mean, there are people who always say they want to bring tourism to Kent, and Kent is not Seattle.
Yeah.
It's not Tacoma. But we can still, Kent and Auburn and Covington, we can still have cities that you will get some people who go, wow, this is beautiful. What trails, what a river walk you have. We have a river. We could have a river walk, a real one, a nice one.
Do I have a river?
Yeah, Green River.
I had no. Okay, Green River. Okay,
Yeah.
But you don't ever think about that, right?
No, who does?
Unless you think about serial killers, right?
Yeah, that's it. I wanted to have it so that when people think of our river, they will think farms and they will think like a beautiful river walk, and they will not remember some random perverse serial killer who. But that's it, right? I want people to know when they open a business in the 47th district under me, it will be friendly for them. That no one will wrong them. That any criminal who threatens their business will be properly punished. That their investment will be safe. That they will have a large customer base because we will have a developed downtown that will be concentrated instead of random sprawl where people have to worry about where they're going to park their car or, are you going to have enough customers every day? It'll be a place for business, for community.
So I know in Seattle, I think is known for being like almost like anti-small business, right? It's so hard to do small business here. Mm-hmm. Is this the same way in Kent, Covington, and Auburn? Like it's kind of known as like being anti-small business, for lack of a better term.
Kent, Auburn, and Covington, I would say, are not small business, but all three of them have had troubles with, of course, and this is again, it started by the state, right? A lot of permitting issues.
That's what in Seattle too, yeah.
Yep, you had a lot of kind of this bureaucratic growth that was done without good sense.
And it's almost like, I'm making an example, exaggeration, like you start a bar. Mm-hmm. Oh, you have a pinball machine. There's a tax for that.
Yep.
You want a dartboard. There's a permit for that, right? Like, are you kidding me, right? Like, come on now.
Yeah, again, it is an act of desperate financial stress when you start shaking down people for every nickel they have, right? So I wouldn't say it's nearly as bad as Seattle, but it is not good. But on the plus side, a lot of the city councils there and people I've been speaking with have been talking about actually passing reforms. They've seen things done in Federal Way to change permitting. Federal Way has gone through massive one. Mayor Farrell has done an incredible job there. They've really just been beautifying and changing the city, making it easier to work there. So I think that is something I would like to do. Is I would like to. I was thinking about this and talking with someone. Permitting. Wouldn't it be nice, like, if you were going to modify your home or, like, choose a business thing, that we had a purely standardized selection process? Mm-hmm. Think like plans, right? I'm doing plan A, plan B, plan C, and just have a standard section. Oh, I want to do this. This will cost this much. Exactly this much. And
so, like, I'm not saying maybe you don't do this, but, like, I've been in Vietnam a few times, right? Mm-hmm. And so that's why you want to be a barber here in the States, right? You got, like, get your barber license, get the building, blah. In Vietnam, what you do, you peer a chair out on the street and start cutting hair.
Honestly, I mean, really loved it there.
Maybe you don't need it that much, but man, it's like, I think we're just so anti-business, even though we're entrepreneur or whatever, but it's just so hard,
Well, and part of the joke there, this is something, again, I learned from my father a long time ago. And interesting enough, it was about the hypnotists. So it used to be hypnotism, right? Mm-hmm. And it was a kind of... it was just a thing done by eccentric people, right, who are studying the human mind. Well, eventually they decided they wanted to be taken more seriously. So they applied for the process of essentially state recognition and a professional certificate. Well, of course, what goes along with that is now the state registers it. Now there's a registration tax. Now you have to go through a board. And then what they did, and this was subtle, my dad explained it, now what they were able to do was charge people more money because now it's a professional who is licensed, who had to spend money. It's a way of kind of removing the ladder, right? And this happened with a ton of industries. Now,
Yeah.
again, I think for the sake of tracking things, we should have licensing.
Yeah.
I think it does not need to be anything designed to stop people from doing
I
something.
mean, you have a restaurant, you need people going to respect your food or whatever,
Yeah.
you know. I mean,
But,
yeah.
but like, we should not be we should not be discouraging people. It should just be a simple process with a simple, reasonable fee that's calculated according to like, look, this is exactly what the paperwork costs to process, right? We're not going to charge you $1,000 because it's a means.
$1,000 in 1,000 weeks to
Yeah.
wait.
That's it. And this is the other part, the wait time. I mean, like, again, we need to have a system that is completely standardized, that knows where something's going to be and has a set cost. And part of the problem is I think we don't have a standardized system for determining cost because they like to have that little...
They have a little bit of power.
Yeah, they want to have that. Again, and I feel like this is part of why I'm running against the state government, is that they create an environment of chaos because in chaos they have the ability to have more power.
Yeah.
When things are vague, when it's not clear, you can get away with a ton of things. Now that's good if you're a good person,
Yeah.
you know, like in a time of chaos, a hero can get away with many, you know, but we're not ruled by heroes.
So this
Right.
next question, I'm going to bet no one has asked you this question before. Tell me why people should not vote for you.
Well, I would say if you profit or benefit from there being drug addicts dying in the street, if you celebrate and benefit from the fact fentanyl is not treated the same as alcohol in regards to DUIs, if you like having 1,100 deaths a year, if you like people being afraid when they look over their shoulder and businesses closing, if you like being able to, in 20 years, when the last person has moved out, buying their properties for pennies on the dollar because you are BlackRock or Vanguard, you definitely should not vote for me. I think anyone who likes chaos and thrives off of crime and suffering, who identifies with these people or sees them as tools they can use, you should not vote for me.
Cool. And so obviously we're going to go over your platform later. Like I think most politicians, they run a certain platform, right? I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that right. But the truth of the matter is when you get in office, some shit's going to happen that you didn't prepare for, didn't know about, right? So next I'm just asking some off-the-wall questions that are not on your platform, right? So first, let's suppose there's a riot in Kent. Like how do you would handle a riot in Kent?
Oh, all right. Well, I'd be a state representative, so honestly, I can't imagine that's my area.
Yeah.
But truthfully, I mean, okay, historian-wise,
Yeah.
riots happen for two very simple reasons. The first is what I'll call an authentic populist riot. Authentic populist revolts happen when the people have been pushed beyond their brink. And interestingly enough, usually there's a solar cycle related activity. There's this really great Russian scientist from 1916 did research on this. No, 1907. But anyhow, riots are usually connected to these kind of extreme populist outbursts. They have been oppressed, they have been opposed, they have been punished.
Yeah.
This usually, if it gains momentum, it grows into a full-scale rebellion. We've seen these historically a lot. America had tons and tons of riots under the British. Roughly like
It's in our DNA.
Yeah, it was just exactly, and it was leading.
Protesting and going to war is in our fucking DNA.
That's it, and I mean the 1855 Baltimore bank riots, where people felt they were being short-staffed by these banks, and then they they burned them down.
That's what we do as Americans.
It is the American way. Well, eventually they got really good about bringing in the army, so
Yeah.
that killed it. Starting like I don't know, I think like 1905 on,
Yeah.
they started getting better about using the military.
And what's that time? I think after the Civil War veterans were rioting or whatever, and the president, some general brought in the U.S. military and shut down the veterans protesting or something.
Yeah, and then there was another event after World War I that was the same. There's the bonus marchers.
Yeah.
So I would say though that if the first kind of riot occurs, I mean that's one where I would go out there and I would talk with the people because these are my people. I am representing them. I have been fighting to make their lives better, to reduce the burden of taxes on them, to make their streets safer, to give their kids homes to live in, to build homes for their children. and I would talk with them and figure out what is going on. Because, I mean, assuming I didn't identify it before, that's where like the riots happened.
Yeah.
I would meet them.
I mean, I mean, actually, that's a good point. You would think as a representative, you would kind of know ahead of time, okay,
Yeah, but let's say
something's going off.
It just happens.
Yeah.
You know, I would be there to meet them. I know I would work closely with our police officers. I mean, they're going to have to be there. We need to ensure security and safety. But that's what I'd like to do is I want to work with them and figure out what the problem is, why they are rioting, and see if I can address it. Sometimes, though, the anger isn't even directed at you or locally. And this gets into the second type of riot. And this one's a lot more interesting and dangerous. This is when we get into things about agitation, right? You have people with money who are bankrolling things. And, I mean, this used to happen on both sides of the party. We would see people kind of paid to be out there on the street.
Yeah, to me, I didn't realize this, like during all the protests and riots, or what do you want to call them, Seattle, like in the 2021, 22. I thought they approached it right. And I saw like little billboards on like the walls, get paid $20 an hour to come protest.
Yeah.
Like, what fucking type of shit is this, right?
Well,
and it totally blew my mind, right, that someone would do this. I thought it was organic, but obviously not.
Well, and that's the issue ever since, I mean, a lot of secret police agencies since the 1940s have been, before the 40s, they were working on this in countries like Russia, right, which had the Soviet revolt. A lot of the Soviet revolution was closely connected to Okhrana agents and secret police agents who were fomenting revolts, and then other countries' secret police intervening. America didn't really have much of this until the 50s. And that's when we get the CIA from the OSS. And it's not, people always go, the CIA. It's not just the CIA. The spooks are many.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is a more difficult one because this is when you're dealing with, I mean, literal billionaire oligarchs, right? You've got, I mean, here's the joke. Ghislaine Maxwell, Epstein's girlfriend, was an editor on Reddit, right? These people care what people think. They have the ability to influence opinion, and they are willing to spend money to do it. I mean, she was willing to spend like hours of this billionaire woman was willing to spend hours of her time editing a online chat site, right? Or a forum, I should call it a forum. So that second one, what I would do again is I'm still going to meet with the people because I need to figure out what's going on. I want to have a police presence there to make sure businesses and homes are safe. And this is my first order. I want people to know that I care and I'm here for them. And that also means I'm representing the owners of businesses and I'm representing the owners of homes and that their property is safe.
So next question, right? I think as a representative, there's a lot of things going on in the world that you don't have control of that will affect you, right? And like right now, the Iran war, we're not talking about the Iran war, but like Iran closing out the Strait of Hormuz, gas prices are going up. So how do you work with the manufacturing owners coming to, hey, because gas prices go up, this has gone up, all the second, third order effects. Like, how do you like deal with that? You know, because you didn't start the Iran war, you didn't do this, but the effects are going down to your level of manufacturing. And these manufacturing companies are like, man, like jet fuel's going up, this going up. Like, I have to raise prices. If I raise prices, then we're going to sell it. No one's going to buy it. If I ain't going to buy it, I got to shut down.
So there is a word, I actually really love this word, and the word is autarky. Now, autarky it's actually an extreme and it's totally irrelevant. It's not what we're actually going to do. Autarky is the idea you have this closed system that is self-sufficient economically. I'd be representative. I would have to work with other representatives to do this. I would love to explore ways we could expand the energy infrastructure of Washington State. They have, I mean, here's a joke, even talking about 3 Mile Island nuclear incident, right? But nuclear energy, there are tons of new, very safe options we can explore there, things that actually can, again, when you have cheap energy, you can do anything. I mean, China's been exploring CO2 powered steam power. Now, I know absolutely nothing about that. People talk about it. Who knows what's true coming out of China? But again, I want to get Washington exploring fuel that will make things cheaper. Natural gas, bringing in natural gas pipelines. And again, the point is this isn't going to address everything, right? Until we can produce I don't even know if we produce our own jet fuel. So again, there's some things I can't handle. What I can do is I can handle the other things. I can make the streets safe for customers and businesses so they pull in some profit there. I can bring in natural gas, nuclear. I can do a yes and to all energy sources. so that way we can drive down the cost of living and the cost of fueling a business. So then even if your other costs go up, right, we can manage. You won't be driven out of business, right? And I think that's part of the issue right now in Washington is our state has created the perfect environment where if anything goes wrong, you're out, you're done.
So what's something about your district that you wish more people knew about? Like this is something really great in your district and no one knows about it. And you just want to shout out to everyone, hey man, come to my district to see this thing. It's so fucking great.
I really love the Green River.
Okay.
Actually, we have a bunch of really wonderful forests and woods around us. We have just tons and tons of green belts. We have the Ridgeway Golf Course. It's just beautiful. It is, again, it's almost a river walk. Not quite, but it's almost there. Again, it's just, we have these tons of nice little places along the rivers that are beautiful. We have just woods scattered around. We have so many nice, I was about to say parks. Don't go to the parks right now. Actually, no, there is a new park and it's actually very safe and clean. Again, we just have so many beautiful, beautiful walks along the river and forests.
What are some, like, I know a lot of politicians that get out.
Oh, Stottle.
Stottle, what's that?
Stottle Wine Bar in Covington.
Okay.
Yep, sorry. Anywhere in the Stottle Wine Bar in Covington is super fun. They had to close down the Reds Wine Bar in Kent Station.
They do like wine tasting there and stuff, or
yeah, they do wine tasting.
Okay.
They do wine. I love wine bars.
Okay.
I can't tell you why or how much, but I just like wine bars. And whenever they're like a health metric to a city. Yeah. But yeah.
So a lot of politicians, they're like kind of proud of like their endorsements, right? Mm-hmm. But sometimes I think that goes against them. Like suppose a politician like gets endorsement for like an off-the-wall organization, right? Well, I know not to vote for them because like I don't believe in this organization, right? Mm-hmm. Having said all that, that's kind of off the wall. Are there any like endorsements that you're proud of, or any endorsements you're trying to get that you believe will like make your election more likely?
Oh yeah, I mean, so obviously, like it. Okay, I'd say. Well, you just made a point. I was gonna say, obviously, as a candidate, you want like endorsements from basically everyone. I'd like to not be endorsed by like Vanguard or BlackRock, but that's not an issue. Shitty air businesses working with islands, huh? No. No, I mean, I want the unions to really know I care about them. I want the retail associations to know I care about them. I'd like really any organization, including realtors, just businesses, the franchisee store owners, the 7-Eleven shops. I just want, and honestly, the churches, the masjids, the synagogues, the Mormon temples. I mean, all these endorsements matter to me in a sense that they are the community, right?
So obviously you're still a teacher right now, right?
Yes.
You have a full-time job. Mm-hmm. So talk about your like time management and organization skills you need to do, like be a full-time teacher, be there for the kids, do that job, and still like run like another full-time job as a campaign for what you're doing.
Mm-hmm. Honestly, that is a bridge I'm going to have to cross when it comes to it. The nice thing is, state legislature the sessions are only part-time. So my real plan there is I want to remain in education. I will do the next year. I will see what has to happen there if when legislature comes up, if I'll have to take a time of leave.
But as far as right now, like campaigning is a full-time job. And then me and teach a full-time job. How you doing all that?
Yes. Oh my God, it's that. So what I do is after work, I do a bunch of phone calls. And very soon I will be doorbelling in person. And it'll be the same thing. But the nice thing, I'll tell you what, while it would be convenient to be able to do calls and run around between 9 and 3 a.m., most of the stuff you've got to do, like calling people, organizing meetings, happens after their own work.
Yeah.
So it's usually after 3 anyway. So I just try to get efficient with grading, make sure my grading is done, make sure my lessons are ready, and then I move out.
I'm going to guess it's probably illegal for you to have your students do this for you.
Oh.
Hey, for extra credit, if everyone wants an A, call 10 people and tell them about my campaign.
I think it would violate a few policies. I'd also just feel rude. But Well, yeah, okay. Funny enough, we are doing lessons on rhetoric, though.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to, for their own life, if they want to
Yeah.
campaign for themselves in the future, I'm training them with the use of rhetoric and making arguments.
I have a test question. Are your parents registered to vote?
Terrible. No, but I really, the thing is, though, here's how I did involve them to an extent. Not in my campaign, but before I began my campaign last year, my city council campaign for Kent City Council, I asked my students, because I was going through this series of police hearings in Auburn. This is what kind of started me on getting involved in campaigning. Was I said, hey guys, what problems do you have living here, and what would you like? So first it was, what is wrong? What would you like fixed? And the second page was, what do you want? And I got all these great ideas, things like they want to have a youth rec center, which I want to build, right? They want to have an actual city center. They want to have things to do. They want a place they can game late at night. They want a Korean style like computer. They want things that kids want and that some adults also would like, right? They gave me this just wonderful list. I wrote it down. And then they also told me all the horrors they deal with, like girls who don't feel safe going on the bus because you have a drug addict who's not in his mind staring at them, touching himself while looking at them. And they don't feel safe doing it. The Metro bus driver doesn't feel safe doing it because he got hit by a pipe the week before. Sorry, that was another story I heard. So they really inspired me. And I like to keep them in mind when I'm doing these things.
So, back to off the wall stuff, right? That might or might happen, right? So, let me think of a good one. Okay, so what's like the major company manufacturing, like Seattle's a Starbucks. What's like the number one company in Kent or your district?
Oh, God, what is the number one company? Okay, I feel terrible. I feel like I should know this, but let me think. Amazon Blue Origins did just open up.
Yeah.
Going off a couple. We have Carpenito Brothers. They're a large grocery agriculture business. I could not.
But how many people do they employ?
I could not tell you.
Okay, but big number.
Big number. They matter.
So let's
They've been around
suppose,
for ages.
like you get elected, and it's 2-year terms, right? And 6 months in, as a what's the word for? As a courtesy, the CEO says, "Hey, Logan, don't you know nothing against you, whatever, but instead of watching me fucking us over for whatever, we're moving to North Dakota." Like, what would you do to like try to convince them to stay, right?
So, okay, yeah, I mean, great question. Honestly, the first thing I would do and the easiest is, if it came to that, if they were giving me the warning, this is my hope, right, is that this is a negotiation.
That's on purpose, yeah. They're trying to give you like, let's tell Logan, let's tell the representative so he can like work some shit out.
Yeah, so then what I would do there is I would say, give me a list of what's happening to you. Like what taxes, what bills, what things are affecting your business. And this is one thing where I enjoy research. I enjoy learning things and figuring out what's going on. I really, really defer to the expertise of people in regards to their industry and knowing what's by. Even if I disagree with them, I want them to tell me what's going on, right? And then I can double check it with someone else. So I want to sit with them, figure out what's going on. Once I've got that, I want to talk to the people I know. This is what I've heard. This is what is going on. Can you give me the numbers on this? Can you give me what's going? Then I can talk with other people in the legislature about saying, look, if we lose Carpenitos, if we lose these people, this is what's going to happen. We will lose this many employees. We are going to have this many people on welfare suddenly. We're going to have this many people trying to leave the city. Basically, I try to get the laws changed to keep them. If that could not happen, in the absolute worst case, for one reason or another, then what we're going to have to do is see if we can get someone to step up to replace them. The issue there is, of course, like, usually the problem is when you have smaller, large businesses leave, the only people who can afford to buy that tend to be the large super corporations, which to me is part of the deal, right? I think the joke is, even though Jeff Bezos left Washington State, I think the large corporations kind of are okay with the position of, like, you know, we have to pay a burden. Here's my joke. Sorry. This kind of jumps around. Washington State stabbed the large corporations in the back. But part of the reason it was a stab in the back is that they had worked together. They worked to destroy most of the competition here in a way. The large corporations funded and bankrolled a lot of the political movements here. Political movements that ironically grew, metastasized, and became the ones that are targeting those corporations for their influence, which to me is always something kind of funny. But nonetheless, I really would work with them to try to get the rules changed, because I don't want to deal with having this either empty space, right, that is valuable. I mean, if it's Carpinillo Bros, they don't argue agricultural land. I mean, like, it'd be nice to figure out a system maybe to give that land to local people so people can start farming there and maybe become a new company. That's really tough.
So we talked a lot about like small business, all that kind of stuff, but how do you like represent, like lack of a better term, the poorest of poor, the people who have no chances, people like, you know, on welfare, the people like have no chance at all? How do you represent them?
Oh my God. Well, again, I represent these people because I'm giving them a world that's safe. One, if they have a drug addiction, I am creating a space for them to get treatment and help, to be set on an actual path of life where they can start eating healthy, live healthy, think clearly, prepare them for a job. I am going also, if they are on welfare, what I want to do is create a place for, again, part of my home building, my idea for my 20 stories within 5 blocks, right? That is 19 stories of flats. These are not apartments. These are starter homes. These are maybe luxury suites to some people, right? The point is, this is going to depress apartment prices because people will be moving into these units. They are no longer paying rented apartments. Apartments will be able to lower their rents. And now these people who are poorer can have a more affordable place to live because other people have now bought more affordable homes. Without me even having to do some weird, crazy government subsidy thing that taxes everyone, right? Which is part of the issue with affordable housing, as they call it. So I want them to know that I'm going to create an economy that will have jobs to hire them, that'll pay a wage that actually matters, and in a place where their wage can afford them a home or at least a nice apartment to rent. And most importantly, they'll be safe. I mean, a thing that they leave out that is frequently forgotten is that when you have people who go, oh no, you know, we have this one demographic, this one group is, you know, being charged with these crimes. Don't you feel pity for this kid who was arrested trying to rob someone? And I'll say, who is he trying to rob? We forget that example. The majority of people robbed, murdered, raped, harassed, assaulted in our state are poor, right? But it's funny, that gets forgotten because you realize the people making the arguments either like crime and don't care, or they're like kind of delusional. Their empathy isn't holistic. But you know, I have friends and family who are white trash. Like, best way to describe it. I have friends and family who are white trash or lived with them. And I'm going to create a world where they're going to have opportunity, where they won't be preyed upon, where they won't be allowed to prey upon people, and where they can actually grow. And this is key for me. They'll be encouraged to grow. I'm not going to force anyone, but I'm not going to allow a culture and a state legislature that encourages people to be their worst selves.
So when you're elected, right, you're going to get a boatload of fucking emails, text messages, like people you know, don't know, like, you know, asking for help, whatever. Like, what's the plan? Like, you know, obviously, like, you personally can't answer every email, every text, right? I guess you have a staff, right? What's the plan? Like, you know, make sure everyone feels like they were able to reach a representative and were heard.
I'm going to probably just suffer immensely. I'll have to figure out some system. So part of the thing I'm doing is I write my cell phone number on all of my material. So when I leave it at doors, I leave my cell phone there. Well, not my cell phone, my number. And it's because I want people to know they can always text or message me. They can always call. I think the only way to deal with that is just to suffer, and I'm going to get probably hundreds. Ironically, not as many people as you think call and reach out, I suspect. Then again, maybe that's different when you're state rep, so I shouldn't speak. Really, I'm just going to respond to as many as I can. I'll have staffers take it, and I'm going to try to visit people in person because I really want to be a man of the people.
That's how you do this, right? I think this is natural human nature, right? So if someone runs an office, and I'll make this all up.
Sure.
Someone runs an office, and Shot Glass CEO donates $10 million, right? And you get elected, right? Even though the laws believe say no matter how much you like donate, you have like no added extra access, whatever. But the thing is, this guy gave you $10 million, right? And odds are, if you didn't get elected without this guy's help, right? So how do you keep from like giving this person extra access versus someone who like didn't even fucking vote for you, right?
Oh yeah, well, I mean, the nice thing here is that while I want to be clear, I love donations. Donations are welcome; they're necessary. It is the world we are in. I accept donations for people whose values I align with. Again, if a stock market, if some institution, some person wanted to give me money, I would accept the donation, depending on what it is. Now, at our level, there is a $1,200 max level if you were running for state representative.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
That's kind of freaking low.
Yeah, I mean, that's for individual donations.
Okay.
I don't know how.
But Amazon can give you $25 million?
No, I think they're also capped at $1,200.
Is it? Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
But let's say, hypothetically, I was in a race that allowed it. I probably might. Well, Jesus, I probably wouldn't want to accept it. It feels tainted. But if a person donated to me and we agreed on value alignment, I am happy. If they tell me, wink, nod, you can be elected. Here's what we need, though, wink, nod, or some lighting. Yeah. Again, if it's something I don't like, then I'm just not going to do it. And, I mean, maybe they'll have to Huey Long me. But...
Good reference.
Thank you.
Let me ask you this, right?
I love teaching them to my students.
So... when I say Seattle, I mean the Seattle area, like Seattle, Tacoma, Covington, all this general area, right? So I got in 2009, right? I'll backtrack. You always hear this phrase, back when Seattle was nice, right? I got in 2009, July 2009. August 2009, as relatives come visit us, I think in the Packet Place Market, first thing we see is an open air drug deal with homeless people, right? In my mind, it's been like this since 2009. So when has this area been quote unquote nice? Or has it always been like this stuff going on?
2006.
2006, that's when it all went to shit, so to speak?
Yep, that's when it became visible. 2006. 2006 is exactly the year. I can tell you 2006 is exactly the year because in 2006, I was about 15 or 16 years old. Let's see, I'm born 1991, October 13th. Yeah. I was walking, I met my neighbor, Tawny. Probably shouldn't use her name. Anyhow, I walked in, my neighbor and school friend said, "Oh, we're at school." And I go, "What's up?" And she goes, "I got knocked out yesterday." And I went, "What do you mean?" She goes, "Yeah, this guy walked up behind me, knocked me out, and mugged me when I was unconscious on the ground. Hit me in the back of the head." And I went, "What?" Just like this bemused, like, I loved history. I had read all the stuff. And we had a neighbor from Detroit. So I heard all the stories of his youth. He was this like middle-aged guy. So I heard all the stories of his child life in Detroit. And I hear this happen here. I go, what? I just don't. What? So 2006, I think that's when earlier. There have been a lot of things going on in King County since the 90s. 90s was pretty good overall. 90s, like, again, and this is what I learned from a lot of...
Let's go up just a little bit.
What? Oh, yeah. Sorry. What I learned from a lot of chiefs of police was that back when there was a drug crisis in the 90s that affected most of the other parts of the country, here laws were very strict. The populations who did drugs were very closely watched. Nothing got out of hand. Laws were enforced. Starting about 2005, 2006, there have been changes. One, in housing policy. King County had been celebrated as a center of refugee resettlement. Also, laws began changing. This is also when we see it gets called the uniparty state. Washington state becomes solidly, and I want to be clear, I am running as a Democrat for the 47 LD Democrats. I call myself a Cascade Democrat because I identify with local values. I am Cascade first. I love my home. Like they used to call these guys in the 1980s, a Jackson Democrat. But the state government took power and kind of started embracing these ideological extremes with that power, right? And they started putting laws in the schools about what we call acceptance, right? And the problem is this: I am extremely diverse. I am very aware of different cultures. My family has had exposure I love many different people. I've traveled. And I'm aware how every society keeps itself safe and how they manage themselves. But we had people here passing laws that said, no, actually, a good, fair, accepting society allows open-air drug dealers. You allow these things. They start restricting police from what they could do. It's not big in 2006. It's starting. And then 2009, Pike Place, you see an open-air drug deal. 2010, you get a little more. 2012, you get more. 2016, that's when things are like noticeable. That's when Seattle starts getting its reputation as the homeless capital of the world. And that's when Seattle adopts their plan where they're going to do a housing first policy. They have 10,000 homeless people. They're going to build 50,000 units of housing. They spend $6 billion. 10 years later, they built 5,000 units. The homeless population was 20,000. And there's still a fentanyl crisis.
So let's talk about what's being called the house industrial complex here, right? Where it's like, all these nonprofits. I mean, maybe they have the best intent in heart, maybe they don't. They're getting millions of dollars. Everyone's working. They're getting figure incomes. It seems like, but yet, based on stats, things are getting worse.
Yeah, I mean, you've hit it. The homeless industrial complex is real. And I think what makes it really sad is there are a few very, very serious, dedicated, nice charity groups and NGOs that try to help people. There are places like, I think it's called Vine Maple Place.
Do you know a lady named Andre Flores? She runs Reheart Seattle.
Yes.
Yeah, she was on here before. Yeah, she's like she does some fucking great work. Yeah.
Thank you for mentioning her. She is amazing. We spoke in person.
Yeah.
She's actually close. So my consultant is Saul Spady.
Yeah, we need to have him come on a podcast too if we can make that happen.
He would love to. Saul Spady is fantastic, and he actually is the creator of the King County Quality of Life Coalition. So when he found me in my last election, he was like, "You've got great values, Logan."
You're like, thank you for recognizing that.
Thank you. He goes, "I'm going to help you put it in tight, nice phrases instead of sprawling philosophies." But he actually helped them raise $5 million.
The work Turner people do, it's just fucking amazing. And the fact, just me, it's like they don't get enough credit for what they do, right? And the stuff they see, the trash they pick up, like this, man, it's just amazing. Like, yeah, just, a lot of it's fucking disgusting, actually, right?
Yeah. Well, and this is what sickens me. We have a state that basically preys upon the goodwill of people. We have these wonderful, incredible people who in any normal age of human society would be helping their community, the people who are down, they help them, they get them back on their feet. But our laws create perpetual chaos, and they can never fix it because they're stuck doing constant maintenance. So I think those are the organizations, and Andreas Suarez I want to work with. The other ones, I think, kind of have a parasitic relationship. And the trick there and the way to solve it, in my opinion, is, again, to kill the homeless industrial complex. We do the 6 months in voluntary rehab because people connected homelessness to housing. Homelessness is a drug addiction issue. 80-90% of it is a drug addiction issue. Like you said, that the guy who was there 13 years, he was not in his right mind. He was never going to be in his right mind. We address the mental health issue separately, and we build housing, and we build housing for stable people. Once we have them through that 6 months of rehab, now we have the actual charities that are effective. They can come in, they can sit down and work with people during that time, get them job training. We can get them in transitional housing that we can actually develop after they're clean so it doesn't become an opium den, right? Or a drug den, I should say. Opium's out of style by 100 years. But, then we can work with them instead of this just graft. It's just immense graft, right? And then it's unfair because then the organizations that are trying to do something aren't getting enough money to do it because it's going to a dozen other parasites.
So educate me real fast, right? You get elected, right? In the state legislature, like let's suppose there's a committee on drug addiction, right? Do the Democrats have one committee for drug addiction, Republicans have another committee on drug addiction, or is it a combination of Republicans and Democrats on the same committee?
Oh, gods. I honestly have no idea here. My suspicion is that it is one shared committee.
So my question is, you're on the committee, and let's suppose a person on the committee, it could be Democrat, Republican, whatever it is, but like, you just don't like him, right? They're a straight jackass, they don't like you, but you both know, like, man, in order to pass the laws we need, we got to work together. Like, how would you overlook this person being a fucking jackass, so to speak, to work together, right? Because a lot of people can't do that.
Yeah, great news. I literally don't care. I only care about policy. Part of the reason I'm running is while I have an extreme, I take my beliefs extremely seriously. I believe they are good. I want to try them. I believe in working with people. Nothing is personal to me. Nothing at this level. It cannot be. It can only be about policy. If I disagree with someone, it's on policy. If I agree with them, it's on policy. I do not care what they are. I don't care if I like them. I don't care if we're ever going to play a video game together. I just don't. I don't care if I'll ever drink together in our life. I have people I genuinely enjoy, and I never, for the life of me, want to actually go out to a restaurant with them. It is nothing personal. I just don't care. But it's a happy business relationship. And I mean, that's how I feel my attitude is going to be in government. There are people who, if we agree, we will agree. And if we disagree, we're going to find a way to make it work so we can get a policy passed.
So what are your core values? What makes you, like, what's your, like, your true values, or how you want to question that or state that?
Accountability. Everyone must be accountable for their actions. And if you cannot, you have no self-control, then we have to make sure that you are accountable. But accountability is my first one. My second is compassion. I think really we do need to see where people are and try to help them to become better. And as a teacher, that means if a kid can't read, I'm not going to pat him on the back and say, I think it's great you can't read. I think that's real empowering, John, that you can't read a paragraph. I think that's really a strong representation of your culture, and I need to accept that. No, that's evil. That's sick. No, I need to look at a person where they are and help them improve. Now, my goal is not to force anyone, right? It's compassion. I want to show them there is a path to improvement and make that a path they can take. That's where I feel there. So accountability, compassion, and the last I'd say is community.
Next, let's talk about arts and culture, right? A lot of people like forget arts and culture. Arts and culture, I think, is a big thing in any society, right? You need arts and culture. I mean, any society with arts and culture, I think, is a dead society, right? So how do you, like, first of all, I'm sure Kent is some kind of museum or whatever, but does Kent compare to Seattle, big cities? Like, how do you improve arts and culture in your district?
This is the thing. We actually have this neat Kent historic We have this neat Kent Historic Museum. Near Kent, there is the Auburn Botanical Garden that also has a history of Auburn attached to it, which is really nice. But, I mean, it is not like Seattle at all. It's just not. None of it is, right? And while there's a scale of population, we still have 150,000 people in this 47th district. Kent has like 80,000, 100,000 people. No, I mean, culture comes first. I mean, what I want to do here is, again, we have it's called the King County for Culture Fund. And actually, some parts of Kent have been tapping this for events. What I want to do is, while I'm building those downtowns, I want to use these funds to have live music performances, basically at bars and clubs. Like every weekend, some bar or club gets to host a live music performance, right? And we pay for everything, just using this existing budget, right? So I want music events. I want venues. I want things where people can go. I want to have a painted, okay. I get upset because I talk to these clerks, and they're really nice ladies. It's always this nice, wonderful, middle-aged women, and they want to do a paint and sip with their friends. They like drinking wine and painting. I did this with my friend. I kid you not. But you know where we had to go? We had to go to a bunch of random parks because there's no paint and sip place. So I said, I want to have a place.
How does Kent not have a paint and sip place?
Okay, you know what? Technically, it does. Technically.
Okay.
There's the small, tiny place that may still exist. I don't know if it does.
How many people live in Kent again? You said 150,000?
It's like 80,000 to 100,000 in Kent, and then like the other 50 are between.
For some reason, I thought it was way big. I thought Kent had like 200,000-300,000 people in it.
It does have a lot. I might even have the number wrong. It's definitely this is up 100,000, something like that. So I just want to have a consistent paint and sip place that's easy, walkable, right there. Again, when I build the downtown town square, whatever, right there, paint and sip, and then have a freaking a ceramic studio in it. I just want things where people can make things, right? I want workshops. I want to celebrate the middle class Yalemen. I want artisans down there just having fun. I want musicians performing. I want safe, beautiful, giant sprawl. You know, we have a Japanese garden, and it looks like it's like a 20-foot by 20-foot patch. No offense to Kent, they did the best they could. But in my heart, it makes me sad because I feel bad for our Japanese sister city. I want us to have a beautiful, gigantic downtown Japanese garden with like a cinema showings in it, and like a temple with a little thing around it, a real Shinto shrine. You know, we could have culture, and then people can take their wedding photos down there. You know, like when a place has culture, people are happy, they make art, they take their wedding photos there.
So if people like working your campaign, like where they get paid or donate the time volunteer for your campaign, like do you have some kind of background progress for them, background check progress, or like how do you like verify they're like decent people?
I know them all personally.
Okay.
So the verification is I spent years with them.
Okay.
But yeah, I think I assume obviously if you reach the higher levels of it, like you want to do a bit of a background. But I think really for me, the vibe check is what matters.
Okay.
The vibe check comes first.
That's a big thing. So let me ask this. What's your take on term limits? My thing on term limits, I used to be against term limits. Like the term limits are the people voting. Then you see people like Maxine Waters, Mitch McConnell, Lindsey Graham.
Yes.
And you kind of see like why those people vote from all the time because they're taking care of their district. But like as far as nationwide, so like I don't know. I'm kind of mixed on that now.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think it's the joke here is I'm mixed. So I'll be really clear here. For me, it is a secondary priority. The first one is drugs and housing, right? Give me just a second. Oh. Sorry about that. There you go. Testing. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
No way. So I completely forgot the question I asked you.
Oh, it was it was about term limits.
Term limits, yeah. What's your take on that?
So again, for me, it's just a secondary issue. I'm interested in it. I think there's a lot of the problem is arguments go both ways, right? There's tons of room for corruption when you're in a place for 20, 30 years. And I think also there's a little unfairness in the incumbent being able to kind of hack the minds of people because people naturally vote for an incumbent.
Yeah.
Right? And doing that for 20 years. But on the other hand, I've been told by my coworkers and other people how they really do love their representatives because they have experience with the system, right?
Yeah.
The irony is it's like having a form of nobility where it's like, oh,
It
yes.
is. I mean, Mitch McConnell's been forever. And to me, I think it's kind of inherently unfair where, like, I think the Senate majority leader of the U.S. Senate is like a Senator Thune from, I think, South Dakota. South Dakota has like 20,000 people in the whole state, right? Like, how did this guy get to be Senate majority leader, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's just age.
What's the system, right? I think Winston Churchill said democracy is the worst system except for all of those, something like that, you know?
I mean, yeah. And you see the corruption, you get it.
Corruption, I don't care what people's corruption is ever, right?
Yeah.
It's like...
No, it's true. It exists in all systems. I mean, it's like, I would say my position here in office. One, I'm never going to mention it until I win my war on the drug crisis, on drug addiction. When I make my community safe, when the drug addicts are happy and in treatment and having normal lives again, and when people have homes. When that first battle is done, then I want to deal with the economy. When the economy is done, when all these things are good,
how do you define it as everything's safe? Like, is it based on certain stats or metrics? Are you gonna go out and like, oh man, I see no homeless people, no drug addicts? Like, how are you gonna find that goal has been met?
Both, literally both, right? I mean, the simplest. There's a quote on this once. An anecdote. Sorry, it was a statistics. Statistics is collated anecdotes. So what that means is like when I have a statistic that says, oh, the crime rate has dropped 65%. That's 500 people who were not reporting, right? 500 people.
And I think it's a challenge too, right? A lot of times people say, "Oh, the stats went down." Is it because people are so mistrustful of the system, the police, that they stop reporting?
I would say in the current case, we're dealing with both. On the one hand, they have had more strict application of laws, and like they repeal. Example, the person currently in the District 47 position, the incumbent, and a lot of state legislators support basically outlawed police pursuit, right? And that led to this huge skyrocket in just car theft. Because again, obviously people steal cars, they commit crimes when they have stolen the car. Then they repealed their banning of police pursuit, and then it just tanked, right? People stopped stealing cars for the most part. That one, completely true.
People say criminals are dumb, but a lot of times criminals are not dumb.
No, I mean...
They know the laws. They know what they can get away with.
This is the joke. Dumb criminals know when they can get away with something, and they know when they can't, and usually the dumber ones will avoid committing a crime unless they're hyper-impulsive. It's just... Sorry, where was I going with this? Oh, yeah. So the problem is, in our current demoralized state, we have a lot of people who don't report theft. They just don't. It happens too often. The police can't help them because the police aren't allowed to help them, right? Police are only allowed to arrest good middle-class people who break some rule that upsets someone in the state government, right? If you defend yourself too hard, it's just sick. I saw a neighborhood being terrorized by this 6'2" squatting drug addict who would run around shirtless screaming at them. And I was there with a police officer. He couldn't do anything. I'm there staring. I can't do anything. The homeowners are freaking out because they know if they do anything to this guy, they'll be arrested for assault. And
that's just so backwards.
Oh, yeah. Well, we know the state we know who the prosecutors will prosecute. And it won't be the 6'2" terrifying
Nope,
addict.
because you violated his rights.
Yep.
Supposedly.
And his rights matter, not yours. You don't have rights.
So define what is a Cascade Democrat.
So a Cascade Democrat to me, and this kind of fits into the vibe check, right? No one is happy with the legacy parties. No one. There are some people who are happy. We don't like them. The legacy parties are associated with, Epstein is the most, Epstein's new. Epstein's just the joke there, right? Yes, okay, great. All of Congress went to Epstein's Island, except was it Thomas Massey or something, I think? I think Thomas Massey's the only guy who didn't go or something like that, whatever. So no one likes them. And then in Washington, we have been run by the Democrat Party and state legislature for definitely over a decade and a half, something like that. And they have done this. They had full control of state policy. Every law that was passed here was a law they supported. And it caused the problems we have today. It caused the drug crisis. China was shipping in cheap fentanyl. Washington State had the chance to address that. And instead, they did everything possible to make sure more people could get it and do it. They passed taxes that collapsed businesses and drove people out of here. They are responsible. Now, the issue there is that I think the whole, what if this other party was in charge? They would never have allowed it. I don't really know about that. That's part of the issue with, the two-party system, right? The big thing for me, though, is that as a Cascade Democrat, I am saying that I care about the core values we have of loving people, loving their rights, their freedoms, their right to be themselves. But I reject the policies of the state government. I am not going to let them keep killing people. I am not going to let them keep passing laws that make it so people cannot afford to live in this state. I am not going to let them drive out the corporations that are the engine of our growth. I'm going to fight it.
So having said that, it's like those other Democrats, all a part of the Democratic Party. Can you realistically get the support of the Democratic Party for your run?
The nice thing is the state party really... And this is, again, true of a lot of the legacy party. Here's the joke. People might hate Trump, and I think we can all agree that the modern Trump presidency is an extreme betrayal and letdown in so many ways. But when Trump was running in 2016, there are a lot of Republicans, establishment Republicans, who despised him. And they despised the people who voted for him because they were ruining their comfort zone, right? They just wanted to do things like they had always done it, the way Bush had, whatever, right? And they deserved it. They deserved to be punished and shaken up because they had betrayed the people repeatedly. And I think that's what we're seeing in Washington State. that longstanding, proud Democrats, people who are foundational to getting the Democrat Party in power here, are now as betrayed and feeling as betrayed as everyone else in the state. That the years they put in, they have had spit put in their face, that they have been accused of, betrayal, that for daring to stand up for their local health, local well-being, they're accused of, their local values, right? They're being accused of, falsely accused of racism, of just of being forced to see your business fail, having to deal with, Kent has 6-hour train shutdowns, like, frequently, because some guy died on the railroad track because he was ODing and the train hits him. And this happens routinely.
I've been there.
You see it.
I've been there. We're on the train. We got to wait. Somebody tried to cross the train. He got hit by the train.
Yeah, there's a gang. There's this gang that goes around that's braining homeless people. Mm-hmm. Literally, they cave in their skulls with something. And it gets reported as like a suicide or something because what the hell are you going to do about it?
Yeah.
With the current state laws. But people see that. And eventually, like, the loyalty a person feels to, like, these higher state legislators who represent the party starts dying. Because, like, what are they doing for you? So I think that's when I say a cascade Democrat. I am a Democrat, but I care first and foremost not about state policy, not about federal party dynamics. I could care less about them. I care about making things good here.
So how do we stop this? And once again, my opinion, right? It just seems like the Democratic Party, the far left liberals, right, 1%, fucking batshit crazy. Mm-hmm. Conservative Republicans, far right, 1%, batshit crazy. This 1% each party seem like they dominate politics, right? They seem they dominate everything. Like the left, transgender, gender roles, let everyone do what they want to do. The conservatives, like, do what they like. It's like what most people within 80%, like, they don't want this shit, right? But it's like it's shoved down our throat.
So again, this is part of the beauty of my campaign, and I do hate to say it. I think in any previous time, my campaign wouldn't be really possible. Mm-hmm. Because my campaign is purely common sense, rational policy. It's extreme rational policy. It's radical rational policy, right? But I am not touching culture issues. I am not talking about even like intricate economic things. These will like interest me, but my campaign is run exactly on 3 things. And we talked about it already, and I'll give a 4th thing. Quality of life. Do you live in a place you can afford a home? Is it safe and fun? Or is it fun? Safety. Are there fentanyl addicts outside? Are you being robbed? Do you feel do you feel scared walking at night? Going back to how I'm going to check, we'll do the night check. Do you feel safe walking at night? Do girls feel safe? Does a girl feel safe walking alone at night? That's my favorite metric. That's my ideal metric. And then the third one is, again, culture. Are we a place where bands want to go, where people feel like there's something to do every night? And I think my campaign being run solely on that is what appeals to the 98%. It appeals to the 70% of Seattleites who were polled supporting these policies. I can speak with people who would identify as libertarian. I can speak with people who identify as socialist. And we can all agree, and even just kind of old standard conservative people, we can all agree on like the things we need to do to just make a safe state. And then we can set aside the other worries.
So you might not know these stats, but maybe you do. But do you have to know like the stats on like for your district, like what percentage of school-age kids are homeless? What percentage are on drugs? Like what percentage of their parents on drugs are homeless? And if you do or don't do it, like how do you kind of solve this problem?
So I don't have those stats on mind. Luckily, the school district actually collects them. All these stats are publicly available. And what I'm going to do about that, again, my whole thing, one is addressing the drug addiction issue, right, which affects parents and to an extent kids. I want to get the state legislature policies to make schools so unsafe. Again, schools basically are compelled by district policy that they have to have people with basically murder charges in class, right, in a completely standard mainstream classroom. I want to make sure these rooms are safe for kids. I want to actually, once we've got people cleaned off the streets, because they're now getting treatment in these rehab centers, Now we can have transitional housing so these kids can get a home. Because we have been building condominiums where people can actually buy homes, the apartment rent is going to drop. We can now actually have people living there. I'd like to deal with the property tax issue as well. I think it would be good if rent had to actually show what property tax an apartment agency is paying, right? So everyone knows what they're paying. But yeah, I think this homelessness issue is amongst kids especially, is really what we have to solve. And we solve it by taking on drugs head on, and then by building homes for stable people. I mean, that's the key.
Yeah, kids being homeless, that's just fucking heartbreaking, I think.
Yeah.
And so, like, tell me if I'm wrong, but, like, I'm guessing, like, Kent has their own school district, Auburn has their own school district, Covington has their own school district. I'm guessing they all have, like, different things they do or don't do. How do you work with that?
So, interesting enough, Covington does not have its own school district.
Oh, it doesn't? Okay.
Yeah, Covington. So, what happens is, I couldn't tell you how it's done, but the school districts have kind of like a population they cover. Mm-hmm. So Kent actually covers a lot of Covington, which is why Kent Lake High School is over near Black Diamond.
Okay.
But I think also Tahoma overlaps with parts of Covington. I think Tahoma overlaps with parts of Covington. Tahoma School District. Anyhow, yeah, they do similar and different things. So there are some things that every school district has to do because they're kind of obligated by state policy or King County policy. And then you've got their own ways they handle things.
So I kind of asked this before. Mm-hmm. I think before I asked you what kind of small business you want to bring in, or how do you want to bring it in?
Yeah.
But is it like a specific industry? Like, man, I would love to have this industry come to my district.
Can you say, oh, yeah, industry? Honestly, for the love of all the gods, I want everything here.
Okay.
I mean, literally, I just want, like, I would like Kent and Auburn and Covington to have this, like, anything that can fit inside a dense, beautiful downtown area in a way that, like, I love the idea of, like, a Japanese style thing where, like, there's a worker housing condominium. Boeing has this to an extent, where you have worker housing right next to the plant. I love that stuff. So again, any kind of business that works well in a dense urban area, I would love to have things that could function in the suburbs around that. But really, I want everything. Joke is, I used to want us to have a shoe factory because I would love the idea of everyone in Kent wearing Kent-made shoes. And then I realized we do have a shoe factory. So nice. I just can't get over that.
So let me ask you this, right? I actually it's already kind of sort of, but like, let's suppose someone's going to come visit you, right? You ain't seen like 4 or 5 years, never been to Kent. You're going to be here 3 days. You're the tour guide. What are you taking them to see in your district in those 3 days?
So, what I'd like them to see, Auburn just looks beautiful downtown, for one. I'm just going to take them to see the Auburn downtown because I like it. And then we're going to go to Game Farm Park, which is a beautiful park and corner area of Auburn. Really huge, sprawling, wonderful wooded area. Then, in my district, what I would like to do is take them to the new developed core. I want them to see the European style condominiums. I want to go into a club we've built there, a rec center. I want us to have a gaming session together in one of the terrifying 100 computer room Korean gaming styles lasers. I want us to go to a game at the we have the giant sports center right there. Wait. Wow, I'm forgetting.
Oh, the Showwear Center?
Yes, okay. Thank you. Good gods. Yes, the Showwear Center. I want us to go to a game there and then walk out and go to a bar right next door.
Okay.
So again, I'd like us to see all of that and then do the river walk. Oh, lastly though, I want us to finish at the giant new Japanese garden I'd like to have made.
Let me ask you this, right? So I think there's a lot of qualified people out there who run for office that don't because of this reason, right? So I'm from a small town down south, right? Had a friend of mine run for city council, and she told me that her ex-husband called us, hey, just so you know, someone called me to see if I would give them dirt on you, right? I'm like, you running for fucking city council of a small ass town? Like, what the fuck? Like, what in the hell is going on if you run for a state senator or whatever? So, like, how do we keep convince good people to run for politics, right? Because everyone, I don't care what you say, everyone has skeletons in their closet, right? I just think we have this, of course not you, of course, but like, we have people that running for office who like, only reason they run because they have no skeletons in their closet, so to speak, right?
No, I mean, this is kind of the curse, right? It's that the most corrupt, vicious, terrible people can run, but because they're protected by a network of people who have blackmail on them, right? They're safe. Ironically, they're safe, right? And if you don't have blackmail on you because you've lived a good life, what they do is they will try to they will happily make up things, or they will take the smallest thing and then try to use that to destroy you. I think in this case, it's just really important that one, you are principled. You stick, one, that you are honest. That's the simplest one. If people say, did this happen? And it was real, you own it, and then you're cool about it. The second thing is that you've just lived a good life. And this is the other thing. I think if people like you and you spent your time around good people, they will go to bat for you. And I think that's a really important part of it. And it's not easy, though. It's not easy being a good person who's clean, because you're their worst enemy. You're the one they want to destroy.
Yeah. So how about this? Like, suppose you're running on some kind of one of your platforms, right? And you're dedicated, right? But then you get in office, you realize, oh man, like 6 months later, things change. So whatever changes, like whatever the case be, like we're like, you know what? I was wrong about that. And so you change your mind. You have reason to change your mind, but people voted for, like, man, like Logan, like he fucking lied to us. Like he says he will never do this, right? Because circumstances, whatever the case may be, you get more information. Like, I have to change my mind. How do you explain to your voters, like, you know what? I changed my mind because I actually have a damn good reason.
So the one thing I make clear to everyone. So again, I am extremely dedicated to my 3 strikes, 6 months of Volta. I'm extremely dedicated to my 20 stories within 5 blocks of major transit centers. I am extremely dedicated to saying no new taxes and ending some of these
for the first George Bush.
Yeah, right? But one thing I also make clear to people that makes me a bit different than what I'd say a lot of state legislatures leaders is that I am good with experimentation. If I try something and it does not work, then it failed, and I will own that failure. What I will not do is 6 years in, after spending $4 billion failing each year, things getting worse and worse and worse, be like, all we need is another 4 years of this. So I feel like, one, just telling people I am going to try different things, and if something does not work, I will say it did not work. I will be loud about it. I will be obvious about it, and I will say this is the new thing we're trying and why. I think that goes a long way to it. But I also think, and this is hard to say, I feel like there are some things where people say, oh, I have to change it. I feel like sometimes it's better to die on your own sword. It's better just to stick it through and,
For all the stuff you want to do,
to the people.
All the stuff you want to do, all it's going to cost some money. You have like some kind of budget amount already, some kind of financial analysis. You went through people already to figure out low taxes, raise taxes, or whatever the case may be.
I mean, so there are some budget things I've looked at. So one, obviously, Washington State spent $6 billion utterly failing in their attempt to reduce the housing crisis and deal with the drug crisis. So I'm happy to take that budget. I will just cannibalize and use most of their, what I'll say, healthcare support, drug crisis, homeless service budgets. And I will use that for my program, which is meant to actually solve the problem in a meaningful way. Regarding other things, I mean, the real simple measure, and this is it, we are going to have economic collapse. It's going to happen soon. The large corporations are leaving. In 4 more years, a lot of our highest taxpayers, like normal homeowners, are going to be leaving. There won't be an option. Washington is going to have to make cuts. We have a gargantuan budget. We're going to have to figure out where we're spending it and spending it appropriately. This is a huge thing.
Why do you think you see this but other people don't see this?
Well, I think they're just the problem is the people running it just don't care. They're isolated from it. They're insulated. I seriously, no person who supports the current drug crisis and Washington State's current policies on fentanyl and drug problems lives in a place affected by this. Okay. Like, first off, they must live in a gated community somewhere. And I frequently joke how fun it would be if you bust a bunch of poor drug addicts so they could set up a camp in their private property on their private road. I guarantee you'd have SWAT police there the next day.
Oh, yeah, instantly.
Yeah, no. So these people they're insulated. I am not. I live in the apartment complex. I'm going to build the condominium that I will move into. um, no, I just think I'm more principled. I have exposure. I know when people are trying to manipulate me with ideology because I teach it. I am a teacher. I've read all the books. I know how people use speech tactics. I've been to the trainings. And also, I think this other people are terrified of the consequences. I think actually this is another level of it. There are people who are afraid of being held responsible for what happens when you make the hard choices.
Yeah, I think that's a big thing right there. You hit on the nail on the head right there. I think so. Yeah, that's a big thing.
And I just don't care. I just think that it has to be done, and it's going to be for the better of everyone. If we're going to avoid being Detroit, New Detroit's actually quite nice now. They 30 years of decline and terror and horror and misery, 40 years allowed them to finally like change their laws and stuff. So now it's becoming an okay place.
So instead of Washington, like who runs the budget, right? Like who's in charge of budget?
Oh, Washington State?
Yeah.
Oh, I mean,
like who decides like the money goes where?
Oh, that's the state legislature.
Is okay.
Yeah, the state legislature, they approve like what groups are getting funding for what, and then basically they approve like new funding.
And the governor, what is the role of the governor? He's like says yes or no, votes, vetoes it or something, or okay.
Yep. Essentially that. And I'm sure the governor must have some extra influence in it. I'm not clear on the exact levels of it. That's stuff that I will absolutely be learning as I get into it. But yeah, I mean, we just have to have someone who's willing to say that like we are killing our people. They are literally dying from fentanyl, and the ones who aren't dying from fentanyl are trying to leave the state or they're losing their business, and we will not have money. And if we are not going to have money, we are going to have to let our people keep some of their money so they stay here, so we can have a tax base at all.
How do you think we can improve, or your district can take advantage of our import-export trade?
Oh, God. Well, I mean, okay. One, obviously, we're manufacturing. We have companies like Exotic Metals. Exotic Metals, I have friends who work there. Exotic Metals, they're not a subsidiary of Boeing, but they're a contractor that produces like, literally exotic metals. They produce really advanced alloys using high-end forges. So I would like to make sure Washington is involved, one, in just really improving our agriculture, bringing back those happy floodplains, making sure our agriculture is protected, making sure we have industry. That's the main export side of it, I think. That's the key exports. And honestly, like, I couldn't tell you what other things would matter. Like, when I support the Yeoman artisan, I'm not really planning on Etsy from Kent, Auburn, and Covington making it big in China. Be great if they did. Like, props to them. Yeah. That would be peak. But really just making sure our manufacturers stay here, that we expand that, and that our agriculture stays protected. Import. Sorry, is that what you mean when you say import, export? Yeah. I also plan on destroying the drug trade.
Especially the one for China.
Yeah. So whatever money, whatever people are making their money, making their bread from dealing death, I'm sorry, you're going to suffer in this new economy.
So I know there's a thing called the Tacoma Trade Center down in Tacoma. They take trips to China, Vietnam, like once or twice a year. I know Seattle Chamber of Commerce does it. Seattle Trade Association does it. Is there anything from Kent, Covington that like takes trips overseas, like kind of like go to China, Vietnam, China, whatever the country is, like, so, hey, this is Kent, do business.
I know
with us.
for sure some of the mayors do actually do trips abroad. I know they do them with sister cities, and that there's an economic relationship.
You said Kent has a sister city?
Yeah, Kent has a sister city of Tonba, Japan.
Okay.
And I believe I'm less informed on Auburn and Covington. I'd like to know more. I need to talk more with them on this. But I mean, part of my thing, yes, I would like to have more city-to-city relationships, getting more of that trade in. Actually, this would connect to improving the ports as well. Our ports have been in decay for a while.
Does Kent have a port?
No, Kent does not. This would be more like state policy stuff, supporting the legislature in Tacoma and Seattle.
Because more imports come to Seattle, I hate to use the term trickle-down effect, but,
it's true.
Manufacturing ship stuff out, agriculture ship stuff out.
The joke is trickle-down is real. I mean, is it real every time someone uses it?
But sometimes how small is the fucking trickle?
Yeah. Like, there are people who say it, and they do not mean the same thing when, like, we say it. Like, oh, yes, okay, a good port leads to us doing good exports and good imports versus, like, no, if I have $10 trillion, Trust me, it will trickle down to you when I hire your children to be my gardeners.
Yes, exactly right.
I will feed them scraps from my very nice table. It'll be the
Exactly
finest.
right. Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, exactly.
Oh, sorry, I won't hire your children. They won't work for a low enough salary to be my gardener. Don't worry, I'm sure it'll trickle down to you somehow.
Yep, and that's a challenge, right? Yeah. So one thing like this area, there's a lot of opportunity here. I think, right? There's a lot of opportunity. There's a lot of potential. And this is what's so frustrating sometimes, right? Because people, you see the potential, you see opportunity. Like, man, like it's like everything's here. Like, so let's think it all together and make shit happen, right?
Yeah, I agree. I think it'd be actually one of my key things is really standardizing things. I want to have better communication between the cities. I want to have solidified permitting. And I know there's this balance where the cities feel they've been forced by this. The problem is, I get it. We fight for local protection at the city level because people are aware the state does not have their best interests in mind. The state is trying to screw people over. It takes money from the cities to use for their own programs that do not benefit the cities. The cities feel hurt. They're offended. They want local power. What I want is I want standardized things like good zoning. I want standardized housing. I want standardized permitting processes where people can look and be like, again, here is the home edition that I want to do. It'll cost this much. This is Plan C home edition. And it is true in Auburn, true in Covington, true in Kent. And maybe with some local variety for like, I want a standardized system, right? But I also want it to be a place where the cities know that they aren't being abused for it, right? That's where I want to push the good urban infrastructure development. I want to push the punishment of crime, that drug addicts are removed from the streets. So the cities know that when there is a standard process, it is for everyone's benefit. And not because I'm trying to dump, I have to emphasize this again, a Section 8 apartment complex in the middle of their neighborhood that's going to skyrocket the crime rate without actually addressing the housing needs of their children, who won't even be able to get a room in the Section 8 apartment complex, right? Yeah. It's so I think we need better coordination and better standardization.
So how do you solve this, right? It seems like in the state of Washington, there's actually two states: Western Washington, west of the Cascades, and the rest of the state, right? It's like Seattle has a population of power. They pretty much, like, lack of a better term, they kind of shit on the rest of the state, right? And like, I don't know if you want to fix that because you want to take your own district, Another thing too, like people don't realize, like, is it Spokane or Spokane? How do you say that word?
I always say Spokane.
Spokane, okay. And so I went there for people don't realize how bad it is in Spokane, right? I went for my nephew's wedding 2 years ago.
Oh, wow.
And like, I got at 8 in the morning, I drove at 8 in the morning. And like, I would feel safer walking to Pioneer Square at 3 in the morning than driving to Spokane at 8 in the morning. It was fucking ridiculous, right? And so this is just not a Seattle problem. It's like almost a Washington State problem. So I know I'm kind of all over the place, but how do you like help like people work together across state lines, not state lines, but mountain lines, we don't want to call it, and solve problems across the board?
Yeah, I mean, so this honestly, the hardcore solution is, I'm going to say, effectively impossible because this gets to like what localization looks like. Okay, this is history fact. The Archduke Franz Ferdinand, before he was assassinated, looked at the Austro-Hungarian Empire, and there were complaints, right? People in the Hungarian side of the empire were claiming they were being mistreated by Hungary, basically, saying, hey, we want local representation. And the Austrian side was doing pretty good, but you had a bunch of local ethnic groups that are saying, we want representation. So what he decided to do was he was going to create the United States of Greater Austria. And what was going to happen was basically that all the major, huge cities would become their own district. Also, most of the cities were German. Some of them have most of the cities were German majority. So and some were Polish. So all the cities would become their own district. Then each of the other regions via ethnicity would be like broken up into states. And I think that was a solution that made perfect sense for the situation they had. And it was a lot better than what did happen, which was World War I. The complete implosion and death of tens of millions of innocents. But in Washington's side, I think the big thing here is getting state representatives on the West Coast who have those population centers who are able to address the issues that are affecting everyone and working together. I think the problem is there is this attitude of supremacy. I've dealt with people who said they are happy to hear that votes in other parts of the states are not counted in a meaningful sense, that they don't want their votes counted. And that, to me, seemed like comically arrogant, especially from people who like to, in their opinion, defend voter rights, right? the same person will say it's very important that everyone is allowed to vote, and then in the literal same conversation say, I don't want people who disagree with me being able to have a vote that matters, right? Anyhow, my big thing there is by winning here on rational policies, I can I can work with the other state legislatures on putting the shared policy in place to help Spokane, to help Seattle, to help Kent. And then we can force out the people who have taken. This is the other thing. Like, Seattle is an anomaly in a sense, right? Cities haven't always been a source of insane rulings and regulations. Like, this is recent. This is new, which means it can also be undone. And again, like I keep saying, Seattleites are polled 70% supporting dealing with the drug crisis in a serious way.
I mean, I always hear the stories about people I know now, like to grow up in Seattle, like, man, Seattle should have a fun, we should go downtown, have a fun time. We should do this, go to raves, like concerts, like that's having a blast, right?
Yeah.
So I think this is how Seattle should be, right? So I actually went to the Seattle Super Bowl parade. It was like 2 blocks from here.
Wow.
It was such a fun time, man. It was like people out, I mean, I don't condone kids drinking, of course, you know, but kids were drinking, right? Everyone had a good time. Like, it was so crowded. It was just a blast right here. And people were saying, like, this is how Pioneer Square used to be. And we have to get back to, like, people just have a good time, have fun time, right?
I agree. That's it. It just needs to be fun.
Yeah.
And the state doesn't have to be separate. It doesn't have to be just divide between the rural and the urban centers. I mean, the 47th district is urban and rural. That's why they call it a purple area. And again, the thing too is people ask me, they say, well, you know, you seem like we really like you because it seems like you can walk across the aisle and shake hands with people. And my thing is like, I keep not imagining it as an aisle. I just want to work with people on good policy.
Yeah.
You know, I want everyone in the state, like, speaking the same language, right? We want safe cities. We want homes that families can afford to live in. We want families staying in the same area together. We want business. We want justice. And then I want people to loudly have to disagree with that.
Yeah.
And then we can all look at those people and be like, why would you disagree with this?
So the person you're running against, she's incumbent, right? How long has she been in office?
I would say about seven years.
So what's something she's done that you actually like, you know what? She got this right. Like she was correct on this.
She does support the schools.
Okay.
Part of the issue, though, is it's not real support. I haven't heard. Honestly, okay. The real thing is that I appreciate that she aggressively sticks to her values. I disagree on those values and their consequences. I'm trying to even think of something that I admired. Eventually, this the incumbent, my opponent, had come around on. No, actually, that was a betrayal too. Sorry, I just keep thinking. I'm trying to think of something positive.
No way. So off subject, right? Obviously, you know who 50 Cent and Ja Rule is, right?
Oh, go on.
And so you know how they had this big feud going on all these years, 50 Cent, Ja Rule.
Oh, sure, yes.
And so 50 Cent was on a late night show, and the late night guy said, "Hey, 50 Cent, give me one good thing about Ja Rule." He looked, while he's alive.
That's it. Like the thing is, I immensely. She really wanted to represent her community and fight for their rights. The problem is, I've spoken with other representatives who basically say that what she has done hasn't helped their community.
Okay. Are y'all gonna have any kind of debate or anything?
There may be a debate.
Okay.
If a debate comes, it will come later in the primary.
Okay. And when is the primary? Like August, I think.
So yes, August.
Okay.
The August primary.
So primary August. Primary August, and like the election in November.
Yep.
And people don't. The state of Washington works like. It doesn't matter if you're Republican or Democrat. The top two vote getters move forward, right? So, and usually, unfortunately, instead of Washington, it's like usually like top two Democrats move on to the primary because Republicans don't get enough votes, right?
It actually is interesting again. So District 47 is a purple district. So actually, it's far more common that you have a Democrat and a Republican contender go to the election.
Okay.
And
I think that's a good thing.
the nice thing is it's a sign of there's a sign of some political balance. I would say it's not necessarily wrong to have like one party dominating an area per se, if the people within the party are fighting for good policy.
If both candidates are fucking batshit crazy, it's not a good thing.
No, well, that's the issue, right? And this becomes the problem. We're trapped. And part of my campaign is trying to change that equation. So it's no longer people being stuck going. What I don't want is people being stuck with loyalty to something that is abusing them, right?
And so Democrats, they've dominated Washington like the last 10, 15, 20 years, right?
15, 20 years, yeah.
So do you think I think the reason of that is because I think the Republican Party has to take some blame for that, right?
Absolutely.
Because like in 2020, COVID stuff going on, the Republicans ran some rural county sheriff from like Eastern Washington, right? Dude, you're running against a fucking 3-time winning governor. You're going to run a fucking deputy sheriff? You have no fucking chance of winning, right?
Part of the problem is that, like, here, I'll give you a good example. Washingtonians, just in the last 20, 30 years, generally have accepted that, whatever exact personal opinion on it, they have accepted abortion as something that is legal and people should have access to. And when you have someone who campaigns openly in a world where we have 1,100 people dying of fentanyl, when streets are dangerous and it's dangerous to walk at night and businesses are failing, and you decide to campaign on an issue that only matters positively to 20% of the population, you are losing.
Yeah,
you are going.
I
to
agree.
lose. It's just insane.
I'm like talking about common sense, right? Like
that's it, and it's just like, and the joke for me again is that people take a personal value that they have on a subject and they forget the wider picture because they're so obsessed with like this issue. And like my thing is like, look, I love children. I work as a teacher. I love families. I want people to have families. What is the best way to have someone have a family?
Yeah.
You give them a home.
Yeah.
You give them a job. You make it so that a man who is between
take care of his family.
Yeah.
Be proud, like, go to work every day, like feel like he's making contribution to society.
This is it. This is it. We make a place where it is safe to have a family and when your kids can live near you. And you do that, you've won.
And so back to the Republican Party, right? It's with them, right? So this last Senate election, so not Patty Murray, but the other senator. I think her name's Murray Cantrell. So her opponent was a doctor from Yakima, right? He actually did pretty good in the primary, right? Like 35, 40%, right? But like, he never went to Seattle campaign, right? Like, they said as a Republican, you got to get 25, 30% to be competitive in Seattle, right? But he came here one time, and the rest of the state used to say, like, you're not winning the state of Washington any kind of campaign if you're not in Seattle campaigning, right? But for the people who do it, it's like, dude, you don't want to win.
Yeah, I mean, this is it. There's a lack of seriousness, and that's kind of what and again, like, I don't like. I mean, you could say it's the same in Texas, right? Where like we don't want a state monopoly because in a way it becomes fake, and it becomes fake in its own way, right? Parties get comfortable. When they get comfortable, they actually stop listening to their people.
Yeah.
I know there was the Brendan Herrera race in Texas was a good example of that.
The one in South Texas, right?
Yep, South Texas. You have an incumbent, been there for a long time, seen as a quote-unquote moderate, right? Oh, man. And really...
That was so crazy. After she won, all these people, she only won because everyone's racist. Like, were they racist the last 20, 30 years they voted for you, right?
This is it. This is...
now they're racist?
Yep. And again, it's just this... there's this comfort.
Yeah.
And it's...
I mean, that's how Trump won Wisconsin, Michigan, Ohio in 2016. Hillary never went there.
So I want people to know that, like, I care about the values we have as Washingtonians, that I respect them. I respect that we are a free, liberal state in many ways. But I also want people to know that I care. My absolute first concern, above all things, is safety.
Yeah.
And having homes people can live in. And a city that's fun and safe where kids can party.
And that's what people don't realize, right? Like, you might consider yourself like a conservative Republican state of Washington. You're probably a fucking moderate Democrat in Texas, right? you might be a fucking liberal in Texas. No, you're a goddamn Republican in Washington, right? Or Maine, whatever the case may be, right? Democrat is not a Democrat everywhere. Democrat everywhere, right?
Oh yeah, no, these the terms are loose. Well, and this is a funny thing about the higher level party institutions anyway, is that people act like they're these eternal monoliths, right? And the joke is they every couple decades they flip.
Yeah. Like people don't realize this. Texas from like 1960 to 1984 was straight Democrat. It wasn't until second George Bush upset Ann Richards in 94 that it flipped the Republican. Everyone thinks, oh, Texas has been red forever. No. Just since 19, no, that's a long time, of course.
Yeah.
Just in 94. It was to be like straight Democrat.
Well, and absolutely. And then we get into the value talk, right? I mean, the Democratic Party, as we know, was established really by FDR.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
really, that's it.
Yeah,
It
it
is.
is.
It's FDR.
Yeah.
And FDR says, but and then we get a change in the 90s when Bill Clinton takes the party and
Yep.
in a way reshapes it in his image,
Yeah.
where he goes over and says, well, we're actually the party of big business.
Yeah. Like what?
and it worked. And this is the joke. It's like, it works. Now, like, I mean, that's why I keep saying I'm a Democrat. And I am a Cascade Democrat, and I like that focus because again, it's local values.
I remember when George Bush ran, the second George Bush ran for like he was like owning the Texas Rangers or whatever. Everyone was like, man, this is a publicity stunt. No way. Ann Richards, like she was like very fucking popular, right? She was like everyone knew her, like she was a very popular governor. She won in 80% of the vote. Like no way Bush was gonna win this. Like, oh shit, how the fuck did he win, right? And like one of the biggest upset ever, like probably national politics, right? And then 6 years later, he ran for president, right? Mm-hmm. And one thing about like Texas politics, so they're doing the Senate primaries now. So on the Republican side, it's like the Senator John Curran, he's running against Attorney General Ken Paxton. Mm-hmm. So Ken Paxton, he's like he makes the most conservative guy in the world look like a liberal, right? He's like he's like so conservative, right? So they're doing a primary, and the Democrat side, this guy who won, Representative Taliko, I think his name is. He's actually like a Baptist minister. Mm-hmm. Like he did an interview with Joe Rogan one time. I'm like, I'm not saying he's gonna win, but he's gonna fucking surprise a lot of people. Like he's like common sense, like he's like Texas values, like he's just a Democrat, right? But he, like, and most Republicans like, oh, Democrats are anti-religion. Like this dude's a fucking Baptist minister, right? You can't play that route. I'm not saying he's gonna win, but he's gonna fucking shock a lot of people in Texas. Like how well he's gonna go, I think. Do the same thing.
This is, I mean, I love this. This is the beautiful thing. This is populism in action. Where politicians in whatever party, whatever state, are standing and are learning to listen to their people, right? And that's what they have to do. And I'd say the joke is that when you have politicians and representatives who listen to your people, who are from your people, who live amongst them, who are seeing what their life is like, who aren't insulated in some far-off ranch or some gated community, whatever, you will get good governance. I always thought it would be really fun if like all public officials were compelled to take mass transit.
Oh man, if only.
If only. I mean, to me, imagine how many good changes how serious it would be taken, right? Security, when again they're just okay letting the people suffer, and that sickens me.
So how do we stop this, right? It's like a lot of times, like suppose you have two sides debating something, right? And they're deciding 10 issues, right? I would do left and right. And suppose the left says, okay, right, you can have these 9 things, whatever, but I need this 10th thing. Right says, okay, no, I need all 10 things, right? This 10th thing is so important to me, I'm willing to give them the 9 things. I'm like, you have 9 things. Maybe this 10 things is like your core value or whatever, you really need it, but man, you have 10 things, you have 9 things.
Yep.
Take that fucking victory and fight another day, right? So many politicians like, no, this is such core to my core value of my people. Yep. I need this 10th thing. I'm fucking blowing everything up.
I know.
It's fucking insanity.
You got it. Well, and the joke is, this is why they then lose. And in a way, the joke is, I like the purity of what I'd say. I like when a casual person not involved in politics has strong views that they like stick to. But the joke, actually, you know what? Here's the joke. None of them even really stick to that. People have friends with different beliefs. No one grills every single friend and every single like point, right? You don't do it with family. The ones that do explode.
Yeah.
And then like I've heard some people say it as like a bragging right. Like, yeah, I don't talk to my family anymore. And I'm like, I could, if I wanted to ruin your life, that is like a curse I would level upon you, right? Unless like, okay, if your family are old, dangerous, horrible addicts, okay, maybe we can make an argument. But like, it's just sad. We need to work together. We have to work together. You want to negotiate for the thing that makes the most people, the benefit to the most people. And yeah, like you're saying, if you take a small loss in an area that isn't going to save millions of lives, you have helped people. And that's why I try to keep my platform as only three things, right? I'm not fighting for everything in the world. I like a lot of things, but I'm fighting for only three things.
Yeah. So the state of Washington, you said it's like a part-time job, right?
Yes.
Do you think that's a good thing or bad thing?
Oh, that is hard. Sincerely, I couldn't tell you. I think
I can see both sides of it,
Yeah, I mean, okay. Argument in favor of part-time session. One, that means your representatives are still a part of the people, right? They're not making a salary that's going to pay an easy living, right? It's like, I think it's 66K, something like that. That's for state representative. This is not a way to get filthy rich. You'd have to do some incredible complicated kickbacks that are probably impossible. Anyhow, so you have people, in a way, it's like the old American system, right? Where our leaders were part-time, right? So they're of the people, they're only there for a bit. That also means the government isn't constantly fighting and finagling. On the other hand, I mean, if they're there all the time, they're able to constantly be working and initiating policy, which truthfully, we could assume the rest of the year they're probably still working on anyway, right? I would assume there's no way a representative or a legislature is not constantly meeting with people.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to be in contact with them. I don't know. I'd be happy to experiment. All right, guys, for 5 years, 6 years, we're gonna try this.
Yeah.
What would you say though?
I see pros and cons. Like Texas is the same way, so you got a part-time legislator, go there, do your business or whatever. But I guess it would not make you don't have a professional politician, right? But you're only working part-time, and then if the legislature's only part-time, does they have to give the lobbyists and bureaucrats the opportunity to take over and run everything? Suppose you get elected, right?
Yeah.
And you want to okay, let me ask the Department of Transportation, whatever. They've been there for 20 years. They're gonna give the answer they wanted you to hear, right?
Yeah.
Versus you being there yourself and realizing, I don't know. And then of course, I'm guessing you save money by not having full-time politicians, No, that's a good experiment to do. I'm guessing there's some states full-time politicians. How does a part-time versus full-time states? How's that operate?
Yeah.
Is one better operational done, more budgets passed? I don't know.
Honestly, that's a good metric. There are some people I'd be happy to ask after this because I'm sure they'd have a better informed opinion on it. But I'm intrigued, sincerely.
And then since it's not it's not professionalized, so to speak, you're less inclined to have people stay in office 20,000 years, right?
Honestly, yeah. And I bet you actually that's probably a key part of it, right? Because, okay, I'm thinking state rep level now. It's 2 years. So that would be 2 years you'd be taking off from your employment, your job. Totally fine if you're independently wealthy. Or if you can come back to a job you've left in the hands of someone you trust.
Yeah.
Or you're a 24/7 kind of person where you can just be operating on all cylinders, right? But I assume this way allows you to again, I think the old Washington model where the representatives will be the congressmen are called this house and they have to go on their wagons for 4 weeks and then show up and then they're there for a couple months and they go back to their plantation or their business, right? So I get the pattern there. It does seem fairly American.
So this is a guy I know. He came on the podcast. He used to be the mayor of Ording, Joshua Penner, and now he's a representative. He did a thing on Facebook. They just did a 32-hour session in the House, right? 32 fucking hours, right? So are you ready for that?
Yeah, oh my God, that'd be so great.
Yeah.
This is a story I've been told and I really love it. It just I always keep this in mind. So Lenin, terrible, evil man, very intelligent, very good political operator. Sorry, your 32 hours remind me of this. So, obviously the early Soviet Union didn't really have set political policies. It's a new government that had won a revolution. So what they had done was they were old. They didn't have really set quorum rules. So he had told all his people that had a really important session coming up. And he goes, okay, guys, what you're going to do is you're going to leave early, go nap. Then you're going to come back at like midnight. Start trickling in around 11 p.m. to midnight. And they're like, oh, okay. So he's there, and all the other like socialist parties are there, and they're all talking and da 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 da. And then as the day goes on and everyone's drinking, people start leaving. And none of them notice that Lenin's followers, the Bolsheviks, aren't really there. And they're trickling out, and then his people start trickling in and trickling in. And everyone's talking and keeps talking, and then it's 1 a.m., 2 a.m., and then finally the room is mostly full of guess whose people. And Lenin goes, all right, we need to call a quorum. Let's make a decision. And, well, all his people were there.
And everyone else was in bed.
Everyone else was in bed. Sorry, that's when I think of a 32-hour session.
That's crazy.
How did that go, by the way?
There was like, I don't know, complaining stuff. So, as a history person, how batshit crazy was the world back in World War I? It took like one assassination to start like a whole fucking complex World War I, right?
So sorry, I'm almost done with this.
You got it.
And we're good? We're not good.
Okay.
We're not good. Sorry, just a second. I'm gonna. Okay. Keep this thought question because I'm liking it.
Yeah.
So sorry.
Cause like how was the war so batshit crazy? Just look like, of course, it had all the treaties and like alliances. Just like some dude getting shot triggered this like World War, you know.
Oh yeah, I mean.
And do you see any comparisons to 1917 to today's world?
Yeah. So. Okay. I'm so sorry. This is not working. Wait. Feels unstable. I should have just got up to do it. Yep. Oh, that was probably throwing it off, I'm sure. Thank you.
I'm trying this one next.
Oh yeah, you know what? I'll actually try. I'll try that other one you recommended.
Which one?
That middle one with the green
This one?
cap. Yeah,
I'll try this one too.
sounds good.
So Buffalo Trace, this is my go-to one. It's like $25, $30. It's decent taste.
Cheers. Okay. Yeah, so.
Cheers.
Yes,
my friend.
cheers. Yeah, well, that is quite nice.
Yeah.
No, it's weird because normally I will not lie. My joke is I have been called by my family Americana, like I'm the purest representation of an American, and I could not for the life of me stand whiskey.
Yeah.
Like it was the flavor. It was so strong. It might have been because the first time I had whiskey, I was
Drinking Jack Daniels and Wild Turkey.
no, it was worse. I was 13, and we had it was our coworker, or not coworker, jeez, our neighbor from Detroit, and many great tragedies. He took his own life, and to honor him, I was with he was a very close friend of all of my dad and everyone, and to honor him, we drank to him. And my parents didn't let me drink as a kid, but because Jerry and I shouldn't say his name, we were very close. They poured everyone a shot of his favorite whiskey, which was Canadian Club.
Oh my God.
It is that bad.
It's that bad, yeah.
And
it's bad, yeah.
that was my first experience with whiskey. And after that, I think I was forever ruined. But this is actually pleasant. I can drink it.
Yeah.
So
I have a joke like I grew up drinking like Wild Turkey, Jim Beam, Jack Daniels, the crap ones. I always say like my mentors failed me, you know, like I didn't become a really serious whiskey drinker maybe 10, 15 years ago. Like all my friends, like they failed me, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let me drink Wild Turkey and stuff.
Well, you unlike me, you were able to go down the path where you developed good taste for it. I ended up just going full. I really like wine.
Yeah.
And then like weird. I like strange Asian drinks. I like traditional like. It's just funny. But no, sorry. World War One,
Yeah.
assassination, and the present day. Yeah, we are in a very weird state. I think World War One was ironically, I'll say World War One was worse in some ways because the countries back then, the empires were more sovereign, and there was a lot more hope. All of these empires in Europe were on this. I mean, you've seen we've all seen photos of the cities back then. Like, the joke is life had improved so much, so much. I mean, there was cultural beauty, there was art, the structures were wonderful, there was experimentation, technology was growing, unions were starting to get stronger says and things. But even then, the quality of life for workers had vastly improved for the peasantry. The middle class was really becoming a force. And that was, 1914, 1913. I mean, there were problems. There's never not problems, right? But like the Russian Empire was showing massive growth. The German Empire was improving. The British Empire was hitting problems because it turns out when you ironically outsource all your factories and rely on like cheap products from foreign countries, it causes issues. But nonetheless, there was a lot of growth. And then, yeah, you just have people who aren't common sense. You have people who are too greedy, right? And I think that's the real arrogance of them. You know, you have these countries who all they had to do was sit down and look at the reality of the statistics, right? How much money will we lose fighting versus what you will gain? Like, is it worth killing people who are literally your cousins?
Yeah.
You know, like these kings who are literally cousins. And it's just, it's offensive to me because in a way they were more naive and they were in a much better position. And the consequences of World War One, I mean, we're still living with today.
I mean, the trench warfare, that had to be horrible, you know. And then I've always heard this, when you take on this, right? I think there's a theory out there, like, the United States did not have to go into war. At President Woodrow Wilson actually made us go to war. He kind of set up, was it Lusitania who got,
Yep.
that he like
Stored weapons on it.
yeah, on purpose to bring us into war. I've always heard that as a theory.
Absolutely. The U.S. has a long history since the Philippine War of false flag operations, you know, and it's the only good thing to come out of the Epstein files, the only good thing is that now Americans are finally not as naive as they were. Every other person in the world, if you talk about politics, they're like, of course our elites are like pedophiles or weird sex perverts or criminal. They just know it.
Yeah.
No person from the former Soviet Union has a naive concept of government.
Yeah.
And when I talk to people from Poland who have migrated here, they see our government, they're like, how are you guys falling for this? Like, they did this to us.
Yeah.
But like, sorry, so like back then though, like there was hope, but our government did get us in because you have terrifying banking alliances. You have idiot kings with their misguided arrogance, and then you have these very, very intelligent, cunning background manipulators, and they get Woodrow Wilson into the war.
So what do you think is about us on boats, right? Because the Spanish-American War started because a boat got blew up in Havana, Lusitania, 1917, Gulf of Tonkin War, supposedly boat, right? It's like, so there's a guy on front on TikTok, his whole thing is like, we're America, don't fuck with the boats, right? It's like, you can do what you want to. If you turn our boats, it's World War III, right?
And the joke is, well, here's the real joke, is that all of those, no one messed with our boats. We did it ourselves. There was one time a person messed with our boat, and they totally earned everything, and it was the Pirates of Tripoli.
Yeah, the Barbary Wars.
The Barbary Wars. And and you know it was a good war because America comes in, destroys a pirate base, we get our people back, and we leave.
Yeah.
And after that, France and the rest of Europe, the joke is people don't really know this, but the reason France ended up owning Algeria is because of these awful pirates who were there. Before those pirates had raided all the coast of Europe, enslaving millions of Europeans. We show up, bomb them, show they're basically nothing, they're weak, and then the rest of Europe goes, well, screw these guys. Yeah. And then they ride in there, clear them out, take the coastline.
And like I said, it's in our DNA, right? America, like, we love to go to war, right? Like Civil War, 1812, Indian Wars, Civil War, Indian Wars again, Spanish-American War, 1917 War, the shit down in Central America, South America, right? On and on and on.
I mean, it's kind of a funny thought because I'd say actually the truth is Americans are traditionally a less warlike people. Now, we do frontier war. That's our real thing, I think, is we're frontiersmen, right? Our wars are frontier. Other people are always fighting organized state wars. Us, it's frontier fighting, or it's like fighting against kind of these like second tier, third tier countries, right? We didn't really fight peers, and when we do, we pardon me, so sorry. When we do fight peers, we had a trouble. But we make it work eventually. But like we fought Britain in 1812 and it didn't go well. But yeah, no, I agree. We have this, Americans had this desire to expand. And I think the Monroe Doctrine is one of those few times where like no country in the world had a different policy, right? The war against Spain for I mean, every country in the world did that. Every empire. But World War I was just... I
was watching one of the news agencies recently, all the stuff going on. And some guy said like, why is America only interested in doing what's best for America? And the guy said, isn't every country like that? Like, are you kidding me right now? Why would America not do what's the message to America? Every other fucking country does the same thing.
Exactly. And I think this is what really offended people about, like, what they eventually were offended by with the Iraq.
Hey, scoot up somewhere.
Oh, yeah. So I think this is eventually what offended them when about the Iraq war and the Afghan war and the most recent Iran war that we're having now. Is that, as terrible as it is, when America gets involved in, a war against Spain that grabbed the Caribbean, we get the benefit of controlling sea lanes literally right next to us. You can argue about whether the war against Mexico was justified or not and our support of Texas, but the point is it literally gave us the Southwest. Like, that is a hard material gain that benefited basically every American. Whether or not they were happy with it. Hawaii, I feel terrible that we let a pineapple corporate. I really have a grudge against corporations
that was kind
having
of
a say in
foreign
foreign policy.
That was kind of fucked up,
But Hawaii is a nice island. People like the vacation there. Not so much me. I prefer less touristy places. But, there are arguments to be made for it. These wars were sold to Americans as defending us and making us more peaceful and safer. And what happened? Like, are we 20 years later, are we safer? You know, did our economy improve? Did things get better for local American businesses?
And my thing too, like people don't realize how advanced China is, right? It's like very advanced, right? Is it advanced because they're smarter, or is it advanced because we spent like trillions and trillions of dollars in 2 wars for 20 years, right?
Oh, thank you. And again, the Chinese people are incredibly hardworking, incredibly creative when they have access. I mean, again, it's like with the Japanese, where once they had access to Western technology, they made their own things with it. But it took, like you said, massive amounts of foreign investment, and it was done specifically hollowing out American industry. It wasn't this equal exchange of like, hey, we're going to license a product line to you. No, it's we're going to strip out Minnesota and Michigan. And we're going to bring it to your place. And we promise the average American will definitely benefit.
NAFTA's the best thing ever.
And again, the joke is this, that like the initial benefits can be maintained, but it's 2026, and now you've got millions of Americans on welfare who would have had a job, right? And then you realize that, like, okay, a car got a little cheaper, so more people can buy this cheaper car, but now you have more people paying taxes to subsidize people who are on welfare. Right? And then my grandfather always told me this story. So America, again, World War II, utterly awful war. And also the American war against Japan, which was the most unnecessary part of it, but we bombed Japan. We firebombed them to hell and back. We destroyed all their industry. Japan didn't have the best industry in the world. They can make aircraft carriers, but we firebombed the hell out of them. And then we nuked them. One of my students made a joke once saying, Japan crossed America and we dropped the sun on them twice.
I've heard that before.
But people forget the firebombings, which were deadlier. But after the war,
what was the joke? Yes, the sun does always raise on the Japanese Empire.
That's it. It's so sad. I love them so much.
Well, we firebombed the shit out of them. People forget that.
Killed it. And but after the war, the U.S. government had a policy, and this is a policy that got put in place that we have to this day. And it's interesting because Japan gets screwed over later in the same way we screwed over Americans for Japan. So what happened is in the 1950s, 1940s, America redevelops Japan. And we basically make a deal with the Japanese government. You will not have a military. You will have no independent foreign policy. You are our political vassal, and we have 40,000 soldiers stationed in your country. But we will build up your industry, and you will export us things, and you will make money exporting. So we actually rebuilt their industry, and then we gave them new technology, and we gave them modern factories in the 50s.
So that's one thing I'll go to my grave believing. We don't get enough credit for that, right? We don't get enough credit for rebuilding Europe, rebuilding Japan. I don't know how true this is. I always hear, like, what's the thing, the Marshall Plan, we gave all this money to loans to everyone. Suppose, I believe, Finland was the only country that paid us back.
Yep.
Every other country is like, technically sold us money, right?
Oh, yeah.
What other country does that, right? Can you imagine, like, Russia was in our position?
Well, yeah, I mean, the Soviet Union, yeah. I mean, they were too devastated. This is the joke about it. Well, I'll say this. It sounds cool at first, but here was the price of it, because here is what happened. So I want to say it sounds great because it's an impressive economic display, but really it was because the American government just suffered nothing in the war, so it had the money to spend, right? But Japan,
So they were playing with house money, so to speak.
that's it. They're playing with house. They're playing. Thank you. That is a fantastic. We're playing with house money. Soviet Union lost 26 million people, so like they're just sucking it all in to replenish their defeats.
But I think the point is, like, what other country in history of the world would have done that, right?
None.
Most countries were like took advantage of it, ruled the world, invaded Russia.
No, ruling.
I mean, of course, actually, we still rule the world, just in a different kind of way, right?
We would have kept them all
economically,
poor. We would have kept them all poor.
Yeah.
Well, what happened was there was a ploy, and the ploy goes like this, right? So the American government exports these factories to Japan, helps them redevelop, helps them rebuild. My grandfather was working at a factory, then it might have been for Boeing. And what happened was their factory went to the U.S. government and said, hey, we know you're spending all this money in Japan. Will you help our company refurbish their factory? And the U.S. government went, what? No. Why would we do that? And the joke there is, again, the U.S. government invested money for political alliances, geopolitics, right? Foreign policy. And also what they wanted to do was start weakening the American labor.
Yeah.
They wanted to weaken the American industrial complex in a way, because they wanted to start making that kind of transnational economy, right? That's transnational government. And it comes from hollowing out and weakening your own people.
Yeah.
It started very small and in a time when people could get jobs elsewhere, so it wasn't that visible, right? But we had to compete against Japanese industry for 30 years.
So I'm going to send this to you at the podcast. I remember his name. So there's a Chinese comedian, right?
Yeah.
I can't remember his name. He was like, let's talk about MAGA, right? Make America Great Again.
Oh, sure.
Yes. There are some things about America not good. Mask goes down, and he just goes like this, all this like stuff from 1919, how it all transcribed or whatever.
Yeah.
It really makes. I'll send that to you. I think you'll like it.
No, please do.
I don't know. Another thing, like, so I think one of the most important books in history was a book called I'm gonna get it wrong. A guy named Alfred Mahan wrote it. I thought about the Power of the Navy or something.
Yes.
I know Theodore Roosevelt took that, ran with that. People don't realize the American military, it's the Navy that makes it so powerful, right?
This is where you get the RimWorld theory.
Yeah, it's not the Army. Army's nice, the Air Force nice, but it's the Navy, sea lanes, like. Another thing I think a challenge is, like, people don't realize, like, because we have sea lanes, we allow, like, Korea, Japan, all these countries not to invest as much in military, to reinvest in the economy, right?
Yep.
I think that's the thing that I don't see we need to get credit for, but, like, hey, like, maybe a thank you once in a while, like, hey, Korea, you're fucking booming right now, right?
Well, yeah.
Because there's umbrellas over you, and we protect sea lanes and all that kind of stuff.
I mean, yeah, it's complicated because, like, on the one hand, we do want to say that like, we give them this Pax Americana, right?
Yeah.
My issue there is that the problem is, like, I know the behind-the-scene things that happen. So, like, no one's ever very grateful for being conquered.
Yeah.
That's the first level.
Yeah.
Even if the conqueror is nice to you, you're like... The other thing is, like, and this is where I get into, like, international stuff and Iran, right? Anyone in government will make an argument for why the U.S. needs to be involved somewhere. And this is true of any country, right? And the goal of us then is to hold them to saying, is it actually necessary?
Yeah.
And like, I would like my thing is, I can imagine a world where we were freely trading with an independent Korea, you know, freely trading with an independent Japan. And, you know, and there might be problems in some places, right? Those happen. But when our country isn't involved in manipulating those things, right? When we're not putting weird stress on them, just trading. And then we focus all that money we spend building up other countries. Or like, we could say, like, I'd be happy to have traded technology with China, but what if we had spent 40 years just further developing American industry and automating it?
Yeah.
You know, what if every factory job that was lost in Michigan was lost because we developed fully automated car factories and were able to take those people and put them in more high-skilled positions, right? And I drive a Kia Soul. I like my Korean car. But, you know, what if we had just built a Americar, you know?
Let's talk about this. That whatever country we go to war with, if we win or you ask for to bring troops, we're not leaving, right? Like we're still in Germany, still in Japan, still in Korea. People don't realize, I feel like 30, 40,000 people in Saudi Arabia, right? Only country we don't have people in, we don't have people in Somalia or Vietnam.
Yep.
You know, but if like you invite us, it's like getting higher taxes.
Yep. Oh, that's it. Like
we're gonna be there.
Yeah, it's just, and there are people who make arguments for it. I'm personally, I'm very, very much this is the joke. You mentioned it, the Rimworld doctrine. And then there's Mackinder's Heartland, which is like this idea of the world is controlled from the Eurasian continent.
Yeah.
What it means is it was meant to be Britain and America, really Britain, can never let there be a united Eurasian power because it's a threat to America's trade. And my whole thing is, you know, why don't we just be happy in North America and be filthy rich?
Yeah.
we have a whole continent, and we have complete political control of South America. I mean, they kidnapped Venezuela's president, right?
Yeah.
And you just think,
from your point of view as a historian, has there ever been a country besides Britain has done more to fuck the world up?
oh,
Because all the Middle East countries, what they did, India, Pakistan, like I think you can blame so much of the shit going on in the world right now that's fucked up on Britain government in the 1910s, 1920s.
Yes, I think the British Empire, well, and even the Balfour Declaration, right, with the creation of Palestine. I think the British Empire really gained. I'll say this: other empires deserve criticism because they didn't properly address the fight they were in or how to deal with it. They fell for the trap of a world war. Britain fell for the trap of a world war. It destroyed their empire. Yeah. Even though the people running the empire benefited from it, it destroyed the empire. Yeah. Terrible for the British people. I think they were truly a world menace. Yeah.
So the Iran war right now. And so I know some people are like mad at President Trump because he said no more wars, whatever. I don't know any of the war. But talk about this. I don't know if people realize, like, we've actually been in conflict with them since 1979, right? The Iran hostage crisis, the Iraq-Iran war, 80-88, we backed Iran. We reflagged Kuwaiti oil tankers in the 80s, right? I mean, I think we shot down one of their civilian airlines. Stats show, like in Afghanistan, Iraq, more American deaths were caused by Iran than the Iraqis, you know? So on and on and on, right? And then, like, you know, they killed, like, I don't think anyone anywhere would say, oh, the Iran government is a good government, right? They support their people, right? But the thing is, like, should we really be their expanding resource? And of course, the fact it seems like Israel are kind of like, you know, hey, America, come along and fight with us, right?
Of course.
It's like, one thing, it's nuanced, right? Is the world a better place if the government, like, goes away? Yes. But again, the thing is, like, if you watch the news, some news will say, oh, we love the Islamic theocracy. Yeah. Others, like, you know, oh, down with the government, right? Because I think the last thing we need is a civil war in Iran, right? We get going there, right? Yeah. Then you have the Kurds in Iraq. It's like all this. It's just so fucking complicated.
Well, I'll tell you what. The joke for me is that it's all very simple, and the thing that gets to me, I think you're right in that the moving parts are complex. For me, what happens is that the U.S. government, and again, part of my run for state legislature is because I am fully cognizant of federal level shenanigans, and I want to ignore them because I care about making the state great. And my goal is to have, no matter what the hell the federal government does or the way the world goes, if it enters a third world war, if it collapses, if things spiral into complete chaos,
So how about this?
Washington is safe. But, oh, sorry, go on.
Well, you elected like the representative, right? Mm-hmm. And then in a 1 month period, 30 of your constituents who are in the military get killed. That affects you then, right?
Oh yeah, no, and this is it. Well, I mean, this is the whole thing, right? Is that we're all going to suffer it. Mm-hmm. And my problem with the U.S. government and these things is very straightforward. The U.S. government, along with British intelligence, and also I know Israeli intelligence, Mossad is involved in this, has routinely, it's not just Iran, but Iran's a great case study, routinely replaces governments.
Yeah.
So Iran, even before 1979,
we put the strong power in the 1950s,
yes.
all that stuff, yeah.
Yep, and here's the joke, actually. It goes even deeper. So we get like, okay, first it's the British, right? Now, Iran was a very weak country in 1920?
Yeah.
1920, 30. The Russian Empire, had it survived, would have invaded them.
Yeah.
Then it was going to be the Soviet Union probably invading them. Well, the British show up and they basically encourage, there's this Persian colonel, a Persian, which, interesting point, Iran was run by this Turkish elite called the Qajar.
Okay.
They weren't actually Persian. Anyhow, they're just corrupt, typical Middle Easternish nobles.
Yeah.
This colonel gets encouraged by the British, hey, overthrow them, become the Shah. And he goes, okay. So he overthrows and becomes the Shah. The guy gets a little too nationalist, though. He really loves Persians. He actually asks the rest of the world governments to call Persia Iran, land of the Aryans, the Irani. And what happens is he ends up making kind of very close diplomatic relations with Germany. So National Socialist Germany shows up on the scene. America, the British, and the Soviet Union all look at Iran and they're like, yeah, no, you have way too many Germans hanging around your country, giving you technical advice and politics. We are not having this. So they invade Iran. And we replace the Shah.
What year is this?
This is like 1943, something like that. It's in the middle of the war.
Okay.
And they replace him with his son. Might have been earlier. We replace him with his son. Then Mossadegh comes in the 50s, and that's where they have their own Democrat revolution. He's another nationalist, and this time he's going to nationalize the oil. And then we replace him with the Shah.
That's like, no.
Can't own your own oil.
Nationalize oil? Yeah, you're done.
You're out. And that's when we have the Shah. Now, the Shah is a close U.S. ally for like 25 years.
Yeah.
But, interesting point, the last 5 years of his reign, he talks about building more nuclear energy. He wants to build nuclear power plants so they can get their people off of using fuel.
So that's where it comes from.
Yeah, well, there's a couple. He says a lot of things that start upsetting the U.S. government. Also, by this point, interesting fact, Islam as a religion had largely died out in the sense of being like a strongly felt belief. It was much more like, we might say, modern Christianity is to a lot of people. This had really upset the priest class in Iran, who are literal Islamic theocrats, right? They like their idea of an Islamic republic. Well, the British government and the U.S. go, God, this Shah is getting a little unreliable. You know who we can work with, though? We've just been funding some mujahideen recently in Afghanistan and across the Middle East. Like, because all these nationalist Arab governments, they're problems. What if we got some good Muslims in power?
We always do it to ourselves, don't we?
So
we always do it to ourselves.
We and the British and Israeli Mossad fund and help support the Islamic Republic theocrats. We help Khomeini with his revolution. And then they overthrow the Shah. And then, well, the rest is history, right? Suddenly this weird republic shows up where it simultaneously kind of nationalizes the oil, but doesn't really. They have weird offensive relations with all their neighbors that make them hate them, but also weird things like they help us with Iran-Contra, right? So it's just this weird thing.
Talk about strange bedfellows, right?
Yeah.
Back in the day.
It's this thing where like they're both our awful enemy. They call us the Great Satan, right? They're opposed to Israel aggressively, but they're also weirdly incompetent and they fight an 8-year war that kills like hundreds of thousands of Iranians pointlessly.
Yeah.
And also weakens Iraq. And then what country do we invade in 1991 after it's been ruthlessly weakened by an 8-year conflict?
Obviously, yeah.
It's just funny. Like, I'm looking at it like, oh my God, these evil bastards. They're just evil.
And the thing with that current Iran war, like, you have to ask yourself, like, okay, whatever the reason is we bomb whatever.
Yeah.
Like, how did we not know they were going to attack every Gulf country? I mean, common sense, like, you have military bases everywhere. We're not going to attack the military base of Oman because they're our neighbors. Iran, I'm like, okay, these countries of our neighbors allow Americans to attack us from the country. Mm-hmm. Now, we're going to try our best to attack the military base, but if it happens to hit a fucking high rise, you know what, how did they not think that through? Or maybe they did and couldn't stop it.
I'll tell you what, they probably thought it through, and they probably it's hard to say. I think part of the problem is the Venezuela operation went so smoothly because the Venezuelan military was co-opted. It's a very weak, corrupt, incompetent government. And it goes so smoothly that it makes... I view it like this. I assume there's some people who always know what's going to happen. They're well informed. Like, they know. They gamed it out and they accepted it. But you have other people who are worried. What if a missile hits a high rise? What if gas goes above $100 a barrel? And those people are told, hey... You saw how Venezuela went.
Yeah.
Venezuela went great. We're loved for it.
Yeah.
This will go well, too. And then those people get convinced. And now we're dealing with this mess. And yeah, it's just going to be bad for Americans. There's going to be hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of refugees fleeing Iran that's going to have death. There's going to be millions of people whose lives are going to be lost, businesses ruined. And then I guarantee you, whatever government gets installed... It might be nice for a couple of years, maybe. Well, I'll tell you what. I mean, Iraq was in chaos for 17 years. We might get some nice government for 5 years. Maybe there'll be hell and chaos for 5 years, and then a nice government. But again, it's a government installed by us. And what happened to the last 4 governments installed by us in Iraq?
Yeah.
Like, it's like this giant clock. It's this horrible clock, and every time it hits every time it chimes, people die and a government gets replaced.
Yeah. So the current government, right? President Trump, all those people, right? I'd say at least I hate to see this doing something about, like, they're flexing American muscle right now. Like when like other presidents, like we're America, we're another country. Like, at least with him, I hate to say. Let me phrase that. He's like trying to expand American power, right? He's like, what? Who in the hell would think to go kidnap fuck another president, right? I mean, that's some fucking Wall Street, right? And he's talking about, making Cuba the first state, Greenland, Canada, right? Like, he's like we're the big guy on the table. Here, and let's deal with it, right? But then when does that end, right? Like, I don't know. And like Iran, right? Is it better to keep it like it is, like a tyrannical government, or hate to lack a better term, like kill hundreds of thousands of people, and in the long term have a better government for the whole world, right?
I mean, that's how they argue it, right?
Yeah, and then like another thing, like in June, we destroyed all Iran's nuclear capability. 9 months later, so they built it in 9 months. They're kind of fucking smart.
Thank you for noticing this. Yes, I okay.
So either you didn't bomb it all, or they're fucking way fucking smarter than you let us know.
One of the jokes is like, it was like 20 years ago, they'd report like about every 7 years they report having killed the same terrorist.
Yeah.
And the joke is like, someone was like, oh, maybe they actually found he wasn't hiding. I go, no, the joke is that they're just recycling an image, and they know that anyone who double checks it, their opinion doesn't matter anyway.
Yeah.
Right?
My thing too is like the current Prime Minister of Israel, Netanyahu, he's been saying this for like the last 20, 30 years. 30 years, Iran's gonna get a nuclear bomb. Like for 30 years, like don't have a nuclear bomb in 30 years. My thing too is like, how the fuck did the North Koreans have a nuclear bomb, but Iran doesn't, right?
Yeah, I'll tell you what, the lesson, if there's any lesson any country that cares about its sovereignty learns from this war, and this is why I genuinely despise and hate our foreign policy, because I do consider myself, right, I say a Cascade Democrat. I am an American. I love America. I love my country. Whenever I visit a country, I also believe I love that country when I am there, but I also am of my own people, and I love them. And that means when things are done in the world, it must be good for my country. Mm-hmm. Suffering and death and chaos and lies don't benefit my people. It makes them hated. It brings chaos. It makes gas prices go above $100 a barrel, right? But The biggest thing is that the lesson to be learned is that for every country in the world, apparently, if you don't want America to kidnap your president or invade your country, you need to have nukes. That's the lesson. That is the moral. It turns out that, as far as pure common sense rationalism, if you want to minimize death, you get nukes. Because it turns out if you have nukes, the U.S. won't touch you. Is that the lesson as a country you want to teach the world?
Yeah, or right? Like, remember when Gaddafi in Libya was like close to get a nuclear weapon and he gave it up? Yeah. And within a month, you fucking killed him pretty much and overthrew him, you know?
This is it. And the joke is like, none of these governments are good. The point is, I'm not going to kill people over it. Right?
Yeah.
Like, and again, we killed people to establish those governments in the first place. That's the other thing that I can't forget. I just like, and I'll be happy when Iran is not ruled by Islamic theocrats, but I know we installed them, the British and us.
So I spent some time in Vietnam. I have a really good friend there. His name's Hadi, right? He's Iranian. He's been around 10 years. And like he told me, like, hey, Jason, I can't tell every Iranian I know, like, wishes like there's a new government, right? Like he showed me pictures of his homeland, man. It is so beautiful there, right?
I know.
It's just a fucking gorgeous country. Like the architecture, the art, everything, the nature. Like, yeah.
No, it is. I mean, and I wish them a new government. I just wish it wasn't done through foreign countries intervening, you know?
Yeah.
And this is the whole like.
Another thing too, it's like there's like the Sunni or Shia Muslim. Isn't like Iran like Sunni, and everyone else Shia.
Opposite.
So Sunni is like the only like they're Sunni, right?
They're Shia.
They're Shia. So Iran's only Shia Muslim. Everyone else around them Sunni, right?
Basically.
So that has something to do with the 2 hour thing, you know?
Yeah, and this is kind of the joke. There's ethnicity, there's religion, and then there's U.S. foreign policy. Right?
Yeah.
And I'll say U.S. foreign policy. It's Israeli foreign policy, British foreign policy too. Netanyahu was big on this. That's why you get weird things in Syria, where like the Islamic rebels and the caliphate both have like protection by Israel.
Syria that was so fucking insane in Syria. Like the Russians were there. I remember times with the Russians and us and otherwise were like one exercise together, and a week later we're fighting just different people, you know.
That's it. Well, like, and so the problem for me, and that I really, I mean the problem is that you'll get historians who like to go, it's a Sunni Shia issue.
Yeah.
Or they like to go, it's an Arab Persian issue. And the real answer is those conflicts mattered back when they mattered.
Yeah.
They mattered hundreds of years ago.
Yeah.
They mattered in the time when there was civil war between Shiites and Sunni.
Yeah.
They mattered when, you have this Shia Turkish extremist group that takes over Iran and starts killing everyone who is Sunni until they convert. It didn't matter in the 1940s, 50s, 60s, 70s. It did not matter at all.
So is Shia Sunni kind of like almost like the same thing as back in the day, Protestant and Roman Catholic?
Yes.
Okay.
That's an easy way to understand
it.
We can get into it, but like that's the easiest way to understand it. And the big point is that much like Europe, our disputes had ended. Like Protestants and Catholics stopped killing each other after the 30 Years' War, and we signed the Treaty of Westphalia, where we went killing each other over religious disputes in the same religion is dumb.
Yeah.
And
that's kind of insane, yeah.
In the moment, in the heat of the moment, it matters a lot. And then afterwards, you're like, wow, we killed, raped, murdered, robbed a lot of people.
In the name of God.
In the name of God. And Jesus Christ. Wow, this was crazy. And then the same thing is a truth.
But then I want people to ask, like, but yet God and Jesus didn't stop us.
Yep. Yeah, God and Jesus did not stop them, and that's this is the big thing, right? Humanity. And the thing is, Islam had the same thing. They had vicious like disputes. You had tyrannical governments doing religious oppression, but by the 20th century, no Muslim majority country in the world gave half a damn.
Yeah.
They just didn't. I mean, it's a joke in India that like the massive religious violence in India happened during partition.
Yeah.
It's a time of extreme stress when you get millions of people murdering each other over anything.
Yeah.
And same for Iran and the Middle East. The Shia-Sunni thing just did not matter. It did not matter until the British and Americans and other secret police forces, including, again, Israel's Mossad, took billions of dollars, worked with some Saudi and Gulf Arab sheikhs, and some extreme radical Muslims sat together and said, "We'll give you all the money you need."
So, do you think the world would be a better place if America disappeared? Like, suppose, like, 10 years from now, instead of the United States of America, each state became its own country.
Oh, no.
Do you think the world would be a better place?
No, it would just be civil war and death.
Okay.
No.
So you think America does have a place that we play to make the world a
Absolutely.
better place? Okay.
Again, I love my people. The problem is that the way the world currently is that it is run by people who aren't really connected to their countries, right? Again, this is the Epstein files, right? Every country in the world, not every country, most countries in the world are run by people who aren't really invested in their own people and listening to them. I mean, and the joke is this, it'd be like saying, it's like Washington State, right? Would Washington State be better if every city was its own, every single city in the state was its own, like, province and district, right? and you can make an argument, like, what if they were all independent?
Yeah.
And the answer is no, we want to work together. We are similar, we trade. The problem is that when you're run by people who don't care, you will live in hell.
Yeah.
And that's just it. And we're run by people who don't care about us. They benefit from us suffering.
Yeah. I agree. So, why do you think it's, of all the places in the world, it's always the fucking Middle East, right? Of course, there's oil, but there's oil everywhere. There's oil, like, I'm from West Texas. There's more oil in West Texas in like pretty much anywhere over the world. There's oil in the like Bakran oil fields in North Dakota. And of course, I'm sure it's like the Middle East originally of Christianity, Muslims, Islam. But man, it's like there's always war there. Like, what's the most oxymoron phrasing? Peace in the Middle East.
Peace as well.
That shit never fucking happened, right?
Again, and this is my historian joke here. That's a very recent issue. Like, this is the joke. There's been the Middle East was largely peaceful for 300 years because it was occupied by basically the Ottoman Empire and the Persian Empire, and they sometimes fought over this small borderland in Iraq, but basically things were stable. The Ottomans had a lot of problems. There's a reason they lost. But you get, the problem is that you get these outside powers that come in and they have their own desires, their own goals, and they fund different groups. And then it's the whole joke, right? They don't want stable governments. And honestly, it's the same reason you allow trafficking of fentanyl in Washington, right? They want chaos. And the Middle East is a nice place for chaos, nice place, because, there's Jerusalem, there's some religious things involved, but for hundreds of years, it didn't matter. No one cared, right? But
like Lebanon, you always hear how beautiful country Lebanon is. Like Beirut is like the place to be back in the day.
It's just amazing. But again, what happened is you have people who fund. You have bad actors locally who normally would have been suppressed. They normally would have no power or influence, right? And then because of basically funding and law changes and institutions and foreign backing, they're allowed to have power. They kill and rob and cause trouble. They go underground. Then you get cycles of violence and terrorism, right? And then it creates this whole thing. But it's the same in Eastern Europe. We didn't have violence in Eastern Europe honestly, we didn't have any violence in there the entirety of the Cold War. That's the joke, right? We don't have any death until the 90s when the Soviet Union collapses and the Warsaw Pact. Then you get huge chaos. That's when you get just basically a genocide of the Slavs. The Slavic people are effectively genocided in the 90s. Through economically, in the same way that we'd say that crack was devastating for the black community, or fentanyl and opiates are devastating for the white American community.
Here's one for you. Probably realize this, but most Americans don't. In Albania, supposedly they worship George Bush.
Oh,
because I just he did some stuff there or whatever,
Clinton.
Clinton, yeah.
That's it. It's a statue of Clinton.
Clinton, okay.
And they may have one of George Bush. I know they have one of Clinton.
Clinton, okay. But I have it wrong then. And it's amazing. Like, to me, like, each U.S. president, they do good things and bad things, right? Like people don't realize, like, the second president, George Bush, he did a lot to fucking get rid of AIDS. I mean, of course, AIDS not gone to Africa, but he did a lot in AIDS in Africa, right? He doesn't get credit for that, right? I think each president does good things and bad things, right? And we're so focused on, I'm a Republican, Clinton's a fucked up person. Or I'm a Republican, fuck George Bush II, right? Just
No.
insanity, right?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, the thing is, again, I told you it's about policy for me, right?
Yeah.
If a person I hate has a good policy, I will praise them on that policy. If a person I hate has a brilliant strategy, I will credit them when I use it. Again, like it is really that simple. I don't think. I think we have to admire what people have done that is effective, or better yet, good. And then we need to, when they do something, even if we like them, if they do something that is wrong, we call them out on it.
How does this work, right? You might not know, right?
I'm listening.
So Washington State has a National Guard, right?
Mm-hmm.
So who decides we're gonna send the Washington State National Guard like to go to, you know, some town in Eastern Washington to do flood control, right? Is that the governor does that? The state representatives do that? I'm guessing it's the governor, right?
I assume it's the governor.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know. This is actually something really big. A lot of the complaints I heard at the local level, city level, was that there have been tons of discussions by like emergency groups that were doing planning sessions, but the planning was never very realistic or firm.
Yeah.
And then when an actual disaster happened, turned out none of them were ready for the scale of it.
Of course not.
Yeah, right. Well, of course not. And then we look and go, what is the point? This is the whole like seeing the value of your tax, right? What is the point of being a taxpayer and being told you must rely on the government, but don't worry. We're taxing you, but you can rely on the government, so don't worry about it yourself.
Yeah.
Right? You don't have to worry about having a strong, organized, effective community response. Like in the old days, right? How would Americans have had to handle a flood? All the local neighbors would have had to shore up and do their best to work together. Yeah. And I'm not saying that was a good system, but everyone knew, so everyone was ready.
But you knew Tom next door is going to fucking come through with you. Tom, do you come through with him?
Exactly.
But now it's like, oh, first of all, you don't know your neighbors anymore.
Yep.
Oh, this government's going to take care of us.
Yep. Oh my God, no, look, there's flooding. Oh no, we're starving. Oh, the power's out. And luckily it wasn't that bad, but the point was like it was still pretty bad. And it could get worse. We're going to probably have more flooding in the future. We're going to get heavier rains.
Yeah.
The weather is
It's going to happen.
Or the climate is changing. It's just no, I think this is something as a representative I want to address. Is I want to work with the cities that we have one actual community response. I don't care what it takes or how it has to happen. I want the culture to change where people rely on each other. The second point is I want to make sure that these emergency response programs actually are practicing to respond to emergencies.
Yeah. I think with that too, like, okay, like, suppose I'm on this emergency team, right? Mm-hmm. I train whatever, and something happens, and my own house and family is affected, right?
Yeah.
And the wife says, Jason, fuck your job. Like, I need you at home, right? What am I supposed to do, right?
This was when we have to
take care of some random people, and like my wife said, "Hey, we're kind of fucking hurting here, right?"
Well, and this is honestly where it's really important to have a community that people feel they belong to, right? Because I think part of the joke of the modern system is that our governments, our cities, our states, I mean, our founding constitution, all of it was predicated on the idea of a people who were very tightly bound. Mm-hmm. So the idea was, in a way, when you helped the community, you helped your family, right? And it was people you knew and you loved. And even if you didn't know them, you felt connected to them. There was a community, right? And that's when you can ask someone to sacrifice, right? Because it's hard to ask a guy, hey, I know you like help feed your family. I needed to die in this war.
Yeah.
Right? Why? But when you have a community, the sacrifice becomes worth it. You know, okay, our home is flooded. I have a duty as a husband and a father, but I belong to the community. I love the community. I care for it. The community cares for me and loves me and respects me.
I get all that. The wife says, help us out or you're fucking cut off for life.
Well, that's it. And I know. And like, and at that point, you have to have a place where you know she's going to be taken care of. Because otherwise you have to do family first.
So it's totally random, right? This is a meme a long time ago. Mm-hmm. And it was like an example, like people like not being able to help themselves. Mm-hmm. So the thing was like the video was like there's 8 people on the escalator, right? Escalator going up, escalator stops. And they're like, can I help someone? Can someone like push the escalator? Can like help? Like I'm stuck. Like escalator, right? Just walk the fuck out, right? And I'm like, man, this is so fucking golden right here. Like that's so many people's mentality now, right? Like they're expected to be spoon fed, everything be given to them, right? Just like take action.
I know. Well, and part of the problem there, and this is where like part of the reason I keep calling myself a populist is that I actually understand that a lot of people, they've been trained, they've been encouraged, they've been fed everything to make a person atomized, weak, alone, miserable, and submissive. Just like, even the joke is this, like the impulsive criminals who rob stores, none of them can provide for themselves, right?
Yeah.
They have no life. They have no like grand. They're not clever. They're not actually self-actualizing, right? And the problem is, like, that's what our people have become in so many ways. And we tax and brutalize the few competent people to provide. And my goal would be, I want to have a community where everyone is like actually uplifted. You're actually encouraged to take responsibility for your life. That we create systems, that we create a community and a culture that makes you want to be more. And if you don't want to be more, that it kind of guides you to that. And again, the same way as a teacher, I can't just let a student do nothing, right? The obligation is in the classroom. I have to show you how to start taking responsibility and action in your life, especially when there are other people around who are going to have to share the space with you.
How does this ever happen? If it has, how you deal with it, right? But you have a student, they're not doing too well, they don't do their homework or whatever, and you do a parent-teacher conference, and the parent says, why are you not making my student do the homework? I mean, why are you not making my kid do your homework? And you're like, because it's homework, I'm not at your fucking home. Like, how do you deal with it? Right? How do you deal with, like, parents try to, like, blame you for them not doing their job?
I've been so fortunate. This hasn't happened. But I've heard parent teachers who have dealt with that. And, I mean, part of the issue there is I don't get a lot of parents who come talk to me. That's a general issue in the modern school system. It's a transition that's probably happened the last 20 years, especially in Kent and Auburn. I would say it's heavier. Other cities, it's different, right? Other schools. I mean, the simple thing there is I tell them you have to take accountability. I mean, the closest I got to it, actually, it wasn't, it was a joke. A parent was complaining to me about their child being on the phone constantly and addicted to social media. And I looked and I said, you gave them the phone. You can turn it off. I just don't know what the, like, at that point, like, you have the power to an extent as the parent. You do have the power. You have more power than I do. And that, I mean, really, that's how I frame it. Accountability. You must try not to give your child pot.
I think one challenge too, like, I mean, back in the day, suppose you're a kid and you walk in your house and your parents said, Jason, so-and-so said you did this, and they fucking, like, spank you, right? Nowadays, like, back in the day, an adult would believe another adult. Nowadays, everyone believes a kid, right? I mean, I don't get me wrong, that's a good thing, because, like, there's some fucking adults right there.
Sure.
But nowadays, they're like, oh, 3 adults would say, hey, Jason did this. No, I didn't. My son would never do that. You threw a line, right? I think that's I don't know, right? It has to be some kind of balance, right? I don't remember, like, there's some adults who lie on kids, and, like, there's other kind of crazy shit, but, like, but back in the day, like, the neighborhood would say, hey, Mrs. Jones, just so you know, Jason was throwing rocks at her, fucking whatever, right? Oh, thank you for telling me, right? It wasn't like, are you sure it's him? Are you sure it did this? Are you lying to my kid? It was like, oh, 3 adults said they saw my kid throwing rocks at fucking whatever, right? I'll handle it, right?
Yeah. Well, and again, this is just it's an accountability issue, right? We have people who now have a culture where they literally feel the joke is this: they have immense pride, immense pride, and their pride is based entirely on an image to themselves that their kid is whatever good means to them, right? And these are the same people who be like, well, he stole that, but it's okay, right?
Yeah.
And
it's just a candy bar.
Yeah, and it's like the whole thing there is, one, we must have accountability and punishments. There must be discipline. Every kid, to actually help guide them in their life, we must discipline when they do wrong behavior, because we need to show them how to actually behave. And then the thing for the parents there is, most parents are happy with this. But if you get the parents who are like that, what we're teaching them is, look, if you want to be respected, right? If you want your kid to be in school, if you want your kid to have a job, they're going to have to change their behavior, and that means you have to be a better role model too.
Yeah.
And I mean, part of the problem is we have parents who are role models for their kids, and they are very bad role models.
Yeah. Like, there's no manual for being a parent, right? A lot of people don't need to be parents, unfortunately, right? But it is what it is, as they say.
This is it. And then we have parents who feel trapped in that they actually do want their kid. There was a mother who was actually really worried about their child. They wanted them to be stopped. They knew their child was a repeat criminal offender. Washington state law is so loose that we allow them to carry an illegal weapon up to 5 times. The same state that passes the most vigorous, some extremely vigorous gun control laws, right? Also allows you to carry an illegal weapon 5 times, where you can be charged with possession of an illegal weapon.
Make it, as they say, make it make sense.
Well, I'll tell you why they think it makes sense, and I'll tell you why some people actually really want it. What happened is this kid was allowed to keep carrying an illegal weapon. He killed someone. I think he also got severely injured in the gunfight, and now he's in prison. And the mother's upset because she'd been complaining about this the whole time, and the state was like, "Oh, what does your opinion matter? What are you, his mother?" Right? But it's just the reason they pushed this law. I'll kid you not. They do it in the name of equity. Because the best way to help a struggling, oppressed minority that has had a long history of abuse and economic problems is to make sure that they have the right to go to prison for murder.
Yeah.
Or to get shot. That this actually is equitable because you're giving them multiple chances to commit a crime. Now, they don't actually say it that way, right? That's what they're doing. And I've had a representative tell me the struggles he has had with other members of the legislature dealing with this issue. And it's just...
So what is your take on gun control?
If you took away guns from every single law-abiding citizen in Washington state, we would have a fentanyl crisis that would explode even more. There would be more crime and more death and more suffering, and things would not be fixed.
I often laugh when people say, like, on the Republican side, they're going to take our guns. No, they're not. First of all, there's too many fucking guns, right? I mean, just the unregistered guns, like, I have family in Texas, right? There's guns everywhere, right? There's no way you take away all the fucking guns. It's like, but there's always a scare tactic, I think, right?
Well, yeah, that's the problem is I call it it's a populist fear because it's happened in other countries, right? Australia did the buyback. The Soviet Union did a buyback.
So my friend Hadi, the guy Iranian, he told me one time, like, he said, one thing about I admire America, y'all have guns. He we wish we had guns in Iran.
Oh, yeah. Well, and the big thing there is it gets into like also having a community that actually can act together. But yeah, like,
and plus with guns, like, people don't realize, like, in the rural areas, I love guns in rural areas, but in rural areas, like, we teach gun safety. Like, when someone says Turkey, this is how you hold a gun. This is how you do. Like, never point a gun. It's like, there's no, like, no sideways shooting, nothing shit like that. It's real, like, ingrained in the society in rural America. Like,
well, that's it. I think I always liked the Swiss model. I always admired it, where the whole population is like spent time in this kind of citizens militia.
Yeah.
My big thing though is this gun control in Washington state. The state continues to push to remove guns from citizens at the same time as it legalizes crime against citizens by armed criminals, right?
Well, that is funny. They want to get rid of guns, but but they still have like concealed gun permits,
Well, I was going to say it's just funny that they allow you to have an illegal weapon and commit crimes with it up to 5 times. Like, that is literal state policy. That is a state law in the book that a person under the age of 18 can possess an illegal weapon, must possess an illegal weapon 5 times, committing crimes before it can be a charge put against them. And it's because the state government supports crime.
This is my thing, right? Whatever you think about front of America, like some people say they're racist, slave owners, whatever. They started the country. The First Amendment was like freedom of speech. Number 1 was guns, right? So it must be really fucking important to them back in the day to have guns as number 2. And then people say, "Oh, you have guns because you have a militia raised up and overthrow the government." People talk about, "Oh, but we have nuclear bombs." Like, still, you have guns, you can do some fucking damage, right?
Oh yeah, I
mean Ukraine proved it.
Yes, no, guns can cause a lot of damage. I mean, we see it in the unhindered crime, right? I mean, my big thing there is that we have people worrying about gun control in Washington state, and these same people do not address the criminal issue.
Yeah.
And I think the fact is, if we take guns away from normal citizens,
Yeah, the criminals have it. The criminals always have access to guns.
it's not going to make the place safer. We know, like the statistical probability of some legitimate citizen gun owner having an accidental discharge that kills someone, like, or their family member, is far lower than the chance of
very
the
low, yeah.
30-time armed robber with
Yeah.
30 armed robbery
You're right.
offenses killing someone.
And most people that I know that have guns in their house, they have like safety precautions, having a safe, like they really know the thing, right?
Yeah.
Now, having said that, I have a friend. I won't say his name, right? We were in the military together.
Yeah.
This dude, he's fucking out of control, right? In his house, right? There's a gun. Wherever you step, there's a gun within hand reach, right? Like, dude, how many fucking guns do you have, right? Like, I have to be prepared, Jason. Like, somebody, like, there's a gun here. There's a gun. Like, if I was walk from here to here, there's a gun here, a gun here. All of them are fucking like loaded, safe, whatever. He has no kids. Him and his wife. Like, I told him, like, what the fuck you doing? Y'all fuck out doing, right? Like, goddamn.
Just grab it by accident. We mean to grab your coffee.
I know, right? Like, goddamn. This is ridiculous, dude.
I agree. No, there are people who take it comically far. I mean, and again, like, my whole thing is balance, right?
Yeah.
I want a state where legal owners are allowed to be safe and possess their weapons, and I want people who have guns and commit crimes with them to be punished and not have their weapons.
How about this one, right? So I think there's two theories. I think two theories, like someone commits a crime. The one theory is like, oh, like Jason Cavness commits a crime. Oh, it's Jason's first time committing a crime. Let's like do whatever, right? And the other theory is like, no, this is Jason's 10th time committing a crime,